What is going on, people? Welcome to Throw Down Your Questions, episode 320. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I am joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Adam Vale.
A.K.A. Fergus Mills.
And, of course, Mr. Brian Manjoma.
What up?
What's going on? Brett, we don't know what's going on with this man. He's missing in action. All right, for you guys who may be watching right now, you may notice something different right now. Your boy's got a different camera angle here. I got a new setup and shit. For you guys listening at home, indulge us for a couple of minutes, please. By the way, I find this funny. That I just analyzed that phrase right now. Listening from home. These motherfuckers are watching from home. No one's here right now. There's not a live audience. I just because we say that. We say that shit all the time. It's like, yeah. You guys listening at home. It's like, who's watching us live? We're even all doing this shit from home anyway. So I'm not gonna get into the specific and shit, but I got a new desk. Finally got dual monitors, and like Carlos said, Carlos, you were right. You said, Tony, once you get this shit, you'll ask yourself how the hell do you live without it. I don't know how the fuck I live without it. This shit is fucking legit. And now when I transition between scenes, I'm not going to have to go like that, looking at my fucking TV. I can just do a little head nod and change. But I want to show you guys something cool at home. At home, everybody's fucking white. I keep saying that shit. Anyway, so the good news is I also have this Sony camera, right, which looks fucking dope. I'll turn it on for you now.
Sony,
and I got the logo too.
Oh man, you a pony, yo.
Yeah. Oh, hold on, the buildings are fucking clipping me. That's one of the other problems we're gonna have. But look at this shit. Tell me this shit don't look fucking clean right now. Only problem is I'm fucking backwards, as you can see. On the video. So what we'll do until we figure out how to circumvent this. This will be what I look like, or reversed, obviously, for throw it on your, for Tony's takes, and then the Logitech will be for streaming until we figure out how to do the whole flipping shit, because we don't know how to do that. Here's the thing. So I know some people have suggested that I cut my video feed off of Discord and just do it through OBS. That's a great idea. The problem is we have 7 guys here, right? If somebody leaves, my video is going to be in the wrong spot. We can't do close-ups and shit. So that solution, even though it's great for a lot of people, if it was just me and Manny doing the show, it'd be fine. Like the way Paris and Danny do the Gamer Tag Radio. But there's a lot of heads here, so a lot of movement going on.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, it's hard to essentially because nowadays you can actually use OBS to be your video to provide your video to different like a virtual camera. So like for me, I'm currently using OBS to sort of beam it and fix all the images and all kinds of stuff to get it over there. But for Tony to stream and to also use it as a video source, he can't actually do that.
Yeah, unfortunately. So we'll figure out a solution, but you will see the nice Sony camera, during Tony's takes and stuff. We're still going to do a lot of tweaking. But hold on. Tell me this shit look hot, though, son. Look at this shit. It's crazy right now. Got the depth of field and everything, Got the skin color. I don't look fucking pale. This shit is crazy right now, But anyway, just wanted to show you guys. I know that's mad insider baseball shit, but the fans like hearing about this stuff, What are you guys talking about in the fucking chat right now? Tacos and shit? Making me hungry.
About what we had.
Yeah. I need one of you guys to vamp for just a minute. I got to do the Chirons. Manny, I wish people could see how good you look because now you're fucking artifacting because the stream and shit. But you did your own thing as well. It'll show up better later.
It'll get better. It's just running internet, all that other silliness. But yeah, what I did is because being that I've realized that you can essentially use OBS as your video feed. I was like, oh. OBS does have all these different features to adjust gamma and all kinds of other stuff, which is the stuff that's all missing from Logic Capture. I just said, you know what? Let me use that and then adjust everything. So I have I did contrast, color changes. I did a gamma fix, and then I did a LUT, which is essentially like a sort of almost like what would be considered an Instagram tint. Almost on it to sort of give it a specific look.
So that's Instagram model, man.
Yo, man. Ooh.
Some fucking Arab oil guy's gonna make you do some nasty shit for $1 million.
No,
Yeah, but you
no.
gotta hook him up on PayPal.
Oh yeah, he is.
So yeah, that's what I sort of messed with it today. After me and Tony did our initial sort of fix up of his stuff on his side. I said, you know what? Let me just take the time and see if I can figure out how to get this OBS thing to work out. And it seems to work better. OBS doesn't seem to be as much of a hog Logic Capture seems to be.
Yeah. Man, I wish I could broadcast
Carlos,
like this, man.
so Carlos, you know what you could do? You could set it up.
Yo, man, I need Luffy to look on his best, man.
Maybe we add like extra lighting to it and be like, oh, okay.
Luffy needs some extra gammas, man.
We could do that shit with Adam too, can we?
Yeah. I mean, if he's got OBS in there, we can do that.
Yeah, I use OBS for the podcast.
Oh, perfect. Okay, we'll set you up, Adam.
Wait, what podcast is
We'll
that?
probably plug,
which
baby.
is
What
coming
you got,
out.
man?
The Walking Dead podcast. People is coming back. Get ready next week.
Oh,
next
shit.
week we are back in business for the next 4 years. They're gonna have every week another Walking Dead episode. Oh my god, that's it. That's it. It's the butter show.
It's the butter
It's
show.
up there with Bakaru Banzai. If you like that shit, you love this shit.
Oh man. Anyway, the people, let's get started, man. First question is from. Actually, who is this from? Oh, Black Metal Gamer Black.
Black.
Now this one's interesting because not only did Black Metal Gamer ask this question, our boy Dio asked this question, man.
Oh,
So we're gonna combine it. How long will the Series S, Xbox Series S, last before Microsoft cans it due to holding back games that can only be optimized on the Series X? Will they actually ever discontinue it? So that's a good question. You know, for you guys who somehow don't know, the Xbox Series S is billed as the cheaper alternative to the Xbox Series X. It's what is it, $300? It's not as robust with the CPU and all this other shit.
I got the answer for this.
Yeah, and you know, people have bought it. Yeah, Adam, since you got an answer, go ahead. I mean, I got my answer. Go ahead, man.
They thought long term, and that's it. This is their way of just killing off what we have with the series, with the Xbox One X and all. This is it. They were like, all right, we'll have a high end and a low end, and the people that are going into it can't bitch because they paid $300. They know what they're getting into. It's not like, oh, it's just as good, everything is fine. No, they knew off the bat because of the price. So I think this is going to be that budget console, and if people bitch, I'll be like, well, we got a more expensive one you can go get. You chose this shit. You could go the other route. So it's just giving that alternative. And if the sales drop and nobody buys it, then Microsoft looks like the good guys. They're like, hey, we gave you alternative. No one bought it. We're going to stop making it now. So I think they know what they were doing. I don't see it going away unless people stop buying it.
But,
yeah, it's a bit it's definitely like sort of a half step sort of replacement of the previous one, but it's kind of disappointing that it doesn't offer at least it's a 1080p console, but it stinks that it doesn't offer like a lot of the. Well, no, it does a sort of reconstructed 4K, and it doesn't do like for a game like Control, it doesn't run all the ray tracing or anything like that. It only runs in performance mode. So it runs at 60 frames per second and all that stuff. But I would like to see it like, why couldn't it run, with all the ray tracing at around 60? It's not throwing out a huge image.
It's the monies.
Even so, like, I don't know. I feel like even if it's just able to do it at 1080p, I feel like it should offer those sorts of bells and whistles, as opposed to the just sort of being like okay, we're just able to run those games that are running on the big ones.
Yeah, those bells and whistles in the more expensive model. That's how they get you. They all do. TVs, cars do it. You want power. You want manual. You want the windows to go up and down.
Here's the thing. They said that thing could do all the things the other one could do. Now we're hearing that it can't.
They play the game.
You know what I mean?
The games don't chug. They perform. We're not seeing all these games playing like Cyberpunk on it. Then we're like, oh shit, this can't.
Cyberpunk don't run on
right?
nothing though, man.
No, I'm saying in general, like games that let's say, oh yeah, it runs on everything. You have it run on the Series X and it's great. It runs on the S and it can barely run. That's not the case. It still runs. People still playing it.
It still runs, but at the same time, I feel like if you're running it at a lower resolution, you should be able to do all the ray tracing silliness and with the minimal amount of frame rates and stuff like that. I think you could do it, but they said it could do everything the other one can, but now they're saying they can't. It's a little bit of a, a little bit of.
That we already knew because of that $200
Oh, yeah.
difference. Obviously, there's a
Oh yeah,
bunch of
there's
things that
obviously a difference.
Yeah.
The thing with the S is it was never meant to be like a system for a hardcore gamer. It was meant to be for the consumer. But I do think there will be a point where developers are going to be like, actually, here's the thing. I just thought about this right now. Right, forget about the Xbox Series S holding us back. When are developers going to go? Yo, the one is holding us back. Because that shit is they're still making games for the system that came out in 2013. So I think that's the bigger question we should ask. Like, when are they going to stop developing games for that fucking system?
Well, I think that will happen once they start making all the money off of the new ones. Because again, we're still talking about a world where we can barely get any of these new consoles.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring up that point because, like, Adam, I see what you're saying when it comes to, like, oh, if people aren't buying the S, no one's going to go. But you can't find these systems anyway, so we can't really say that right now. You can't even find. The S is harder to find than the X.
But that's what I'm saying. When people think, oh, how long is it going to take? It's like it's going to be around for a while. I don't see it going out anytime soon. They thought the long term on this.
Yeah, my thing is the one needs to be discontinued before the S. That is the same thing with the regular PS4. Like, come on, man, we can't be using that old ass shit. Say what you will about the S, it's still pretty powerful compared to the one. But I understand why people are saying that, or are at least worried that the S is going to hold back the X. I understand that, but you should be more worried about the one holding back the X. Anyway, Carlos, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to get discontinued anytime soon, or at all until the end of the generation. Yeah, because it's always going to be the easiest entry for the casual consumer to get into
Game Pass. If that's all they give a shit about, it's like, here, get this cheap Game Pass attached.
Yeah, I mean, this is only going to go down in price. What is it, 300 right now?
Yep.
It can be 200 in like 3 or 4 years, and $200 to enter the generation is a pretty compelling price for a lot of people.
I'll go one step further.
By the way, put a fucking asterisk on that shit.
Hey, I'll go one step further. I say within those 2 or 3 years, we'll see where you get the console for free if you sign up for Game Pass for like 2 years. If you do a 2-year deal.
Well, that's speculation right now,
No, this is my own opinion. This is what I think. I said within 2 years, we'll see something like that where it's like just like we saw with phone plans and stuff. Oh, remember back in the day, you get a phone if you agree to sign up for like 2 years and the whole thing. We'll see something like that. If they're making all this money from the service, they just need you to have the damn box to get the service. In the long term, the subscription pays for itself. So they're like, yeah, you know what? Why not?
Real quick, Black Metal Gamer says, I'm worried the Series S will hold games back. Hold on, I just missed it. Okay. I'm worried it'll hold back multi-plat since it can still handle on the Series S. So we now maybe have less and grander scale in game. I see what you're saying, but the same applies to the one. The one is doing the same fucking thing. That's what you should be worried about. To be honest,
I mean, it's a very odd argument to say, really. I mean, saying that, the Xbox S will hold back games, but then by that logic, then any weak PC holds back games.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm sure that there are PCs that run the same games that are less powerful than the S. So by that idea, those PCs hold back games, but they don't because they don't.
Well, don't they, Brian? I think that's
do they?
Yeah, well, I'm asking, don't they? Because, like, if you have to make a game for the lowest common PC, then that means you are holding back to some extent. Am I seeing that wrong?
GeForce experience.
Remember, as we've learned, it's not just about scaling up and down. It is a little bit more than that,
And that's why I like the CD Projekt Red attempt at this strategy. They're like, motherfucker, it's not gonna work on anything other than high-end PCs. Fuck you.
Yeah. No, it just seems like an odd thing to say. It's like, like the S will hold it back. Like, but if you look at the power of it, like it's the only thing that you can say will hold it back is the resolution. I mean, you look at the differences between the Series S and the X games, and most of the time it's just, the S runs at lower frame rate and runs at lower resolution and has no ray tracing.
That's a pretty big deal, though. Don't you think it doesn't have ray tracing? That's a pretty big deal to me. Like that.
Ray tracing only became a thing in consoles less than 3 months ago.
Yeah, it did, but ray tracing is still new. But Brian, it's literally the only next gen feature we have. I was thinking about this, right? Because people were like, fuck ray tracing. I'm all about 60 frames. Like, we've had 60 frames a second since the Super Nintendo days. That's not new for consoles. Ray tracing is new for consoles. That's actually next gen. So if you take that away, what's the point?
But then who buys consoles just for ray tracing games? Like, I thought to buy them because, hey, they want to play like next games. And if all the next generation games run on the S as well, then again, for the general public, they don't really give a damn.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. And the S is for the general public, but again, the same games on S also run on the One.
Yeah. Again,
so where are we?
My argument is that this is the console aimed at the general public. So I'm looking at everything that I'm saying from those point of view, because that's who it applies to. You know, like, I can't say, like, okay, let's look at the CSS from the hardcore point of view. It's pointless, because again, they have the X.
Yeah.
So hence, it's kind of like a weird thing. It's like, I can't argue that, the CSS should have ray tracing because hardcore people like ray tracing. But as Adam said, if they like ray tracing, then they just get the X, because that's the primo machine. That's the premium console that Microsoft has. Again, this is for people who just don't give a damn about all the fancy stuff. They just want to play the game, and that's it. So
no, I see what you're saying, but I still think you can make the argument, or at least think about the fact that developers have to make games for this system, just like they have to make games for the One. They can't go all out like they could if they were just focusing on the X and PC. That's where that argument's coming from,
Yeah, in other words, having so many different SKUs, and you have to QA every single SKU to make sure that they all work properly. Yeah. Even if it is just on a slightly slower version of it, you still need to QA the 1080p version to make sure that shit runs. Make sure that you make sure that the draw distance on the S version is a little bit different on the other one to keep the performance high. Stuff like that.
Yeah. And Brian, you bring up a good point. I was just about to say that's like, for the hardcore guys, that system's absolutely useless. Buy a fucking X, That's what I would do. I'm not in the market for an Xbox, but to me, I'll be like, what the fuck is the point of this shit? I'm trying to go next gen,
I've been saying this for, I sound old, but I've been saying this for generations now. Like generations. These inferior consoles have been holding back the most powerful systems back. Like PC games always look superior, but they never, they never are like that much better than their contemporary console equivalents. It's not even the multiplayer games. I'm just saying like first party for like exclusive PC games as compared to exclusive console games.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's because consoles kind of hold them back. But that's just how things are, and
that's how the cookie crumbles.
And that's how the Series S is going to be, and it's gonna hold some stuff back. It's not going to be the death of a lot of games, but that's just how it's going to be, and I don't think they're going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Anytime soon. And I don't even think like if they ever do anything, I think the Series X is gonna be like a slightly bump during the mid-gen refresh, like the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, and then the Series S might just be the standard whatever the Series X was at launch.
I wonder what's going to happen when we get the slim versions of these consoles. Are we going to get the Xbox Series SS or something? Like, I don't know what they're going to do with that. But I agree. I don't think they're going to discontinue it, especially when there's enough out there and regular people could buy it. But I don't know. Again, I might just be seeing this through like too much of a hardcore filter. But again, because I'm trying my hardest to see this from a regular consumer standpoint. Even I would be like, what the fuck is the point of this shit?
It's just money. It's just cheap.
No, but I get it. It's like mom and pop and shit. You go to. You know what? That's a good point. If I was a parent, I'd be like, you get the fucking S, man. You don't get the real shit.
But you know what? The kid will be happy because you got the Game Pass for all the games. My kids, that's what my daughter. That's what she likes. She doesn't care about how good it looks. She's like, does it play Roblox, Minecraft? All I do is I press the button and it just downloads it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, she don't give a shit.
Yeah. So there you go. The S is for perfect for kids too. You know.
But isn't that what one of our listeners said, that he has the X for himself, and then he has the Series X for his
Damien?
I think it was Damien.
Damien, yeah.
I going to Babylon. You know?
So yeah, he has, for him, that's absolutely perfect, because it's like, okay, yeah, little Jimmy, I don't know what the name of your kid is, by the way.
Little Damien.
We'll call him Damien Jr. Damien Jr. Right? He likes his games. He don't care too much about graphics. He probably is not at that age where he really cares about it. He just cares about more of the quantity, more of the things that you want to play. Oh, hey, does it play Assassin's Creed? Does it play Gears of War? Does it play Minecraft?
Like the board game.
Yeah.
People won't play that.
So yeah, I think definitely for somebody who has a kid. So you think about that, like that situation, and it's like, okay, a parent like trying to, but like wanting to have the games, but doesn't want to blow $60, every, like 3 times a month or whatever to buy them, consistently buy their kid games, where they could literally subscribe to a service and their kid could figure out what the hell they want in there. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and it's less of a hassle. You don't have to worry about your kid wanting to play some game. You finally get it, and they're like, "Wow, I don't like this shit." And it was like, "Damn, that was a waste of $60."
Oh, it goes back to like, when we were kids, right? Your parent, you buy
Operation POW. Fuck that game. It was awesome in the arcade, and I was so hyped. I wanted it on NES. I couldn't wait. I had to get a good report card. I got a good report card. My buddy Tumai came over, and we're like, "Yo, we're gonna play the shit out of this."
Yeah.
We finished in like a half an hour. I'm like, "What is this garbage?"
So yeah, see, or the other thing where like, your parents, be one of your parents or somebody buys you a game, like, hey, you better play that game, keep playing that game, because you're not getting one for a little while,
Yeah.
I still play games like that. I play it for months.
All right, Chris, send us home and move on to the next topic. What are your thoughts on DS?
I think it will stick around. I think a value option. They're not going to get rid of it. They get rid of the Xbox One before they discontinue the S.
Yeah, I agree. All right, good discussion there. Let's move on to the next question. Also from Mr. Black Metal Gamer. All right, he goes, I love just the intro of this shit. It's hilarious. Remember the movie Big, where the kid makes a wish and he wakes up and becomes Tom Hanks? Like, that's the whole movie. He becomes Tom Hanks.
That's true.
Becomes Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I watched it again. Last weekend.
Fucking hilarious, my baby. Like that should be the tagline. The kid wakes up. No, he goes to sleep and he wakes up as Tom Hanks in Big. All right. So the question is, if you wake up tomorrow, but you become the most recent protagonist in the game you've played, who are you, and how will you go about your day? Interesting. All right, Adam, start with you. What was the last game you played? So you're the Division man, then. Me, you, and Chris were the same guy. We're the Division man.
There you go, Division man, and the most recent is a big tank. And I'm saying that I have tons of gear and metal shit on. Nobody's getting through it, and I'm killing all these bitches. Try to come to my hyena hideout.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm spending my entire day killing motherfuckers and watching.
Yeah, same.
DC,
that's it.
I'll wake up and shoot sucker bitches in the face. That's my day.
That's it. Make them pay.
That's it. All right, Manny. What was the last game you played? And what was the protagonist? And what would you be doing?
Was it? I can't remember. Was it Black Sad?
Maybe.
I think so. You got the platinum, right?
So you are Black Sad.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a detective, but I'm an animal, and I solve murders.
There you go.
And then I get beat up by people. pretty much a noir with animal people in it, I guess.
Yeah. All right, Carlos.
I would be Estelle Bright from Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky Part 2 or SC. And I would be looking for the love of my life, kind of like how the game is.
Oh man.
Yeah, pretty much do that. Try to find.
All right, Brian. What about you?
I'll be playing as Ash from Concrete Genie, and basically I'll be drawing giant dicks on the walls because why the fuck not?
Oh man.
And yeah, in case you're wondering, I did just pretty much do that for most of the game, just draw dicks on the walls, just because I thought it was funny. Yes, I am 12.
Yes, you got the plat.
Oh yeah, got the plat.
Nice.
I got like 2 hours after I woke up after the session. So yeah, easy plat.
I need to go back to that because I beat the game like literally like December 29th or something. But I got to go back and get that plat because it seems pretty easy. All right, good stuff. Next question. This is from Mr. Dio. Now, here's the thing about Dio. Dio, you asked 3 questions. Normally, we would allow that. But since one of your questions was the same as Black Metal Gamers, you're good. Just keep that in mind. 2 questions. All right, first question. When will the next PlayStation and Xbox event happen? What do you want the companies to talk about and reveal? I don't know when the fuck these things are going to happen, bro. Who knows? As for what I want them to reveal, I want them to reveal actual next-gen exclusives that are only on next-gen. None of this cross-gen shit. That's what I want. I want Ratchet and Clank, obviously, to be announced. And I want any game, any Xbox exclusive to be announced, like an actual Xbox exclusive. I think Medium's the only one right now.
But Tony, let's say even by that point, if it does happen by someone, if the consoles still aren't out there, if they say, all right, we got exclusive, so many people are going to be pissed. All the people that are trying to get one of these next gen consoles are going to be super pissed that they can't play it. It's not because they don't have the money. Yeah, they just can't get the console.
Okay, then they could buy the games when they get the console. There.
Would that work for you if you didn't have one?
Yeah, I would have no fucking choice. Just wait.
Isn't that how we live?
That's how it's always been, Adam. It's always been like that.
That's not how it works. No, because if you want to go buy something, you have the means, you can go buy it. But that's not the case. People have the means and they can't go buy it. The console is just not available for them.
But we've seen that in the past, man. There's been consoles like you just can't fucking buy
this bad. Come on.
The Wii begs to differ.
Yeah. The Wii was out for a long ass fucking time.
Yeah,
I got it day one though.
We're talking about for these next gen ones for both consoles. These are 2 different ones. The Wii is just a novelty with some of the shit they want to play. This is stuff a lot of people want to get into.
It was that novelty was
the best selling console. The novelty was the best selling console.
And the best selling console.
Yeah,
it was the cheapest one on the market, of course.
If it was cheap, nobody could find it, though, Adam. Come on, man. You're making excuses.
The Sega Dreamcast was the cheapest console of its generation. Look how that went.
Well, people did buy that. But the point is, like, we got to move on. Stop holding shit back. Make games exclusive. I'm tired of this shit,
But the thing is, I think the reason why they're doing a lot of this stuff is because number one, you don't want to let go of that install base. But I feel like that this is going to go on even longer because of the fact that you cannot get these things. I think we're gonna, they didn't say when God of War was coming, and they didn't say when is Horizon Zero Dawn 2 coming.
It just said
2021. That's all we got.
It's saying 2021, so it's like we're talking about all these big titles that are kind of gonna have a last gen version. They said that was last gen too, right?
Yeah. By the way, you're right. By the way, we're kind of answering Villa Kyle's question about this. Like, so we're gonna jump in that. We don't know when hell these events are gonna come.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. It depends on on whether people on how much of the vaccine is going to be out there. Whether people want to take vaccines. It's like how do you if you do an event. Okay, so what do? Do you have to make sure that if you apply for the event that you have to have your vaccine, kind of like when you go to college, or go to, or kind of like when
I could see.
By the way, he didn't specify if they have to be live events. I think he's talking about just a regular digital event, like a
digital event.
Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows, man?
I mean, I feel like probably we sort of already know what's already coming and coming, right? So I don't think they need to do one for a while. Maybe they'll do one. Fiscal year's already over, right? Next month it's the next fiscal year, right? The next
the year ends on March 31st.
Yeah, so maybe maybe at March in that time they'll probably do something there to kind of give a little bit of a. You're like, hey, this is coming. Be excited.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you.
Sell our stock.
Probably, I'm going to say, just for the hell of it, just May. But let's get to the real heart of this question, man. This from Villa Kyle. How do you think PS5 PS5 game sales are going to be affected by the console shortage. Might the shortage be one of the reasons for having so few true PS exclusives? No, the reason there are so few exclusives is not because of the shortage. It's because there are more PlayStation 4s out there. That's why. That's purely what it is. You know,
it's the same. If you go back, it's the same reason, like why they supported the PlayStation 2 for so long in the other thing. Because number one, the PlayStation 5 was so damn expensive. Excuse me, not the PlayStation 3 was so damn expensive, and then plus they have that really strong install base. I mean, come on, look at when God of War 2 was being put out on the PlayStation 2. PlayStation 3 was out.
That's right.
I think that was second year of PlayStation 3. That's God of War 2 came out.
Right. Yeah. That's the pure reason. It's not because of. Here's the thing. I guarantee you, right? If let's just say for the sake of argument, there were enough PS5s out there would still be more games on PS4 than PS5. It's not because of the shortage. It's because they know their fan base is still on the old console. That's purely why. As frustrating as that is, that's the reason why. You know, we saw this last gen too. Go ahead, Carlos.
Yo, man, Astrobot sold 4.5 million units, though.
Yeah, it did. You know, best-selling PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, it sold as many as the consoles out there. Are they pulling that number, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Are they bragging
about that number? Didn't Nintendo do that with Super Mario World?
Yeah, they did that with the Wii Sports.
They did that with Wii Sports, too, yeah.
Astrobot's the best-selling PlayStation exclusive on PlayStation 5.
But the different, I think you can buy Astrobot though by itself. You can purchase it.
I don't know.
Why?
Yeah, it was on the store.
Why would you? It comes with the console.
I don't know. I saw it on there, so I thought that was weird.
Yeah, that is kind
of. Maybe it's just a re-download. Maybe it's just a re-download.
Yeah, it's a re-download.
Yeah, if you delete it, okay.
Yeah, if you delete, you just re-download the shit.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's the real reason. The shortage has nothing to do with it. It's just there's bigger player base. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, exclusives would be nice, man. Would be nice. Villa Cal also asked. Go ahead, Manny. Go ahead.
I was going to say that in general, the biggest thing that Sony and all these companies care about is the software sales. So you put it in a place where that's where they make a lot of their money, because as Chris pointed out, even with the financials for PlayStation, they're losing money on that thing.
Yep.
So they want to recoup that amount until their console starts actually making some real money. So what do? You put out you put out stuff on the old thing, because everybody still got those. I still got one.
There you go. But Manny is just perfect. So Manny, would you be upset if there were more PS5 exclusives with you owning a PS4?
No. Because I haven't made I haven't.
There you go.
I haven't made the decision.
Manny's in his own little world. We already talked about that.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, he kind of is. That is true.
Come on now.
Yeah. That is true.
I freeze.
No, you didn't freeze, but you're kind of lagging. You know.
No,
actually, right now you're frozen right now. Mr. Freeze got. Whoa. I see OBS right now.
Oh, OBS has flashed itself. Okay,
yeah,
cool, no problem.
Like, let's say,
by the way, Adam, thank you for correcting me. Manny's a special case.
Yeah, because
I'm not
Call of Duty. Let's say if Call of Duty is something like that, was like, yeah, we're 2 to 5 with the big install base on the current, people would flip the fuck out.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, I
Call of Duty's
definitely am
stay
a special
for
case
a while. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely am a special case when it comes to this sort of stuff, but at the same time, I'm not going to be annoyed that it's not on there.
Yeah, but me and Adam, I'm not a special case. Like if it was me, I'd be like, yeah, good. Like even if I don't own the console, I'll be like, oh, that sucks, I can't buy it, but good. Put out games on that system, so when I do buy it, it's gonna be a bunch of shit. That's how I would see it. That's what I did. That's how I used to operate before I started buying consoles day one. PS3, I didn't buy that shit until like a year and a half later, until I actually had games. I could have bought it anytime I wanted.
To be fair, not when it had games, when it had Metal Gear Solid 4.
No, I bought it before that. So
you had less games. They didn't have anything back then.
When I bought it, I bought on day one. I bought not when the games were day one, but for me, day one PS3 when I bought it, 2008. I got Assassin's Creed, whatever Ratchet and Clank game was out there, and fucking one other fucking game, Uncharted. So I was chilling. I was chilling.
Uncharted was 2000.
2007, and it came, and I bought it. Yeah, and I bought it in 2008, and I was like, oh shit, look at all these colors. Brian, remember our conversation, man? Colors, man, colors. You know, and then, but Carlos, you know what the game that really spurred me on? I was like, oh shit, GTA 4 is coming, son. Better buy this shit now. You know.
Wait, GTA 4?
Yeah, GTA 4. GTA 4 came out April of 2008. Then that was like, I need to have this system, man. And then Metal Gear came out.
I got confused with San Andreas.
Yeah, and then Metal Gear came out like a month and a half after that. So I remember when I got GTA 4, I was like, I better fucking 100% this shit fast before Metal Gear drops. You know.
Yo, by the way, you know, GTA 4 came out in 2008, right?
Yeah.
Which was 2 years after the generation started. And in 2 years after this generation starts, we're gonna have a patch for GTA 5.
Oh man, isn't that something? Isn't that something? All right. By the way, just quick, Villical also asked us, what are our goals for 2021 and for the show? All right, the first part, that's a AMA question, so we're not going to answer that. And for the show, stay tuned. That's insider shit. We're not going to divulge all that. But things are coming for Throwdown, you know? All right. Oh, shit, I don't have the next Chiron ready. But yeah, PS3 was the last system I bought when I was like, oh, I'm ready to buy a system. Nowadays, I buy systems day one because of the job, you know?
I mean, yeah, you pretty much need to have all the new consoles when they come out.
Man, I own the PS5, and I'm the first guy to tell you don't need to buy that shit now. You know,
not yet.
You really don't. Yeah. Carlos has it. He's like, look, you see it right there next to the Bebop Baru. You know, even he's like, fuck that shit. You don't need that right now. You don't.
I have a PS3.
Carlos, I'm gonna call you out on the show right now, son.
All right, I'm gonna leave.
Yo, okay. So, if you guys know, when you form a PlayStation chat room, right? You can see a list of everybody that's there, right? So I was looking at this shit just because I want to see if Adam was on before because I hopped on a little bit. I saw Carlos and I saw something very peculiar. The last time you played PlayStation PlayStation 5, excuse me, was 24 days ago.
24 days
What's
ago.
What's up with that, man?
When 24 days. Oh yeah, that sounds about right. Well, I started playing
stuff, right?
That was the last time. That's when you played Demon Souls with us, wasn't
it? But then again, he was on last night. He jumped on just to say goodbye, right?
He probably did it on his phone or something. You know?
Maybe.
Yeah, it was on my phone. No, I played GTA 5 with you guys. Remember that was
24 days ago.
Oh, okay, that sounds.
That's how he rolls, yo.
Yeah.
Yo, man, are you playing more the Series X?
I'm playing on PC. I'm playing Legend.
You're not even. So which one is collecting more dust out of?
I'm playing Legend of Heroes. The Trails in the Sky.
Wait, he wants to know which console is collecting more dust. They're equally collecting the same amount of dust.
Yeah.
So it's the Xbox Series X, but because I'm watching all my Blu-ray movies on my Xbox One X. So I'm using that for movies, and the Series X. I mean, it's collecting dust, but I mean the PS5 isn't far off either. But I mean,
hey, I still watch Blu-rays on my PS3. So
yeah, I mean it's you know the Xbox One X is probably my favorite Ultra HD Blu-ray player because it's the quietest.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
There you go, man. All right, I think I got the next question ready, so let's move on to it, man.
Let's move.
Also from Mr. Dio, this one's an interesting question. All right, Destruction Allstars is a good game, but not as great as I would have expected. It has the potential to keep me invested if they add more modes like traditional arcade racing, but with the manslaughter and destruction like OG Burnout. What additional modes would keep you invested in Destruction Allstars? That game hasn't invested me, period, bro. I haven't played this shit.
No.
I know it's free. I didn't download it, but I selected it. But it's like, I'm sorry, that game looks like fucking trash, man. It does. It's fucking stupid, you know.
Brett was in our chat.
Oh shit! What about Brett? He just showed up right now, son.
Yeah, so I'm curious if Brett played this game.
I didn't show up just now. I've been here for a minute.
Oh shit! What's going on, Brett? How you doing, man?
Just mentioned the name.
You just noticed me.
Yes.
Poof. Yeah, the Beetlejuice rules.
Yeah. All right. So, Brett, did you play Destruction Allstars?
I did.
What did you think? Thank you. Somebody on this panel actually fucking played this game. All right.
Yeah, I did. I did play it because I wanted to. Honestly, I played it because nobody else seemed like they were going to. So,
So then it's a pity play.
No,
it was a pity play.
It's the rule of Brett. Brett plays all the games that we don't like.
Oh,
Well, he hasn't played the medium yet. Nobody played that one yet.
Damn.
anyway, Brett, tell us about Destruction Allstars.
Nobody played it. How are we actually talking shit on it?
I don't know.
So yeah, I played it. It's a bit of a dumpster fire.
Uh-oh.
It's very good for what it is, but what it isn't very much. It is the hybrid child of Fortnite and Rocket League, basically, and it's very clear that
that's my problem with
Sony.
it.
Yeah, Sony's just, and it doesn't appear as anything other. Sony is clearly just chasing the buck here. There's not even I was like, okay, well, let's see how much you can customize. You can change the color of your hero / car, and your emotes, and that's it. So it's not like there's because I was like, what is the point of this game? I understand, okay, maybe you play it over and over again for those, those sweet Fortnite skins or whatever, but there's just nothing there. And the gameplay it's kind of fun, but it's something that would really have impressed me in 1990 something.
Damn, my man went to the 90s.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, it does have a very
arcade,
arcadey / it reminds me of Twisted Metal. The multiplayer mode of Twisted Metal.
That's exactly what I thought. That's why I said it feels nostalgic, but there's just no substance under the nostalgia.
Oh man, yeah. My thing is it looks like the epitome of a boardroom game. You know what I mean? These executives sat in a boardroom. All right, we need to make a game that's gonna sell. What do the kids like? Imagine a whole room of Steve Buscemi's, right, with the fucking skateboard and shit. What do the kids like? And they're like they like Fortnite, great Fortnite. They like Rocket League. Make that. That's the game. It just seems like the epitome of this boardroom fucking game. So
that's Jim Ryan came into the room. It's like, okay, we need something that gets the power of Fortnite, and we've got to have it also work as Rocket League, like soccer, but combined. Maybe we could call it. We call it Rocket Knight or Fort League.
And then the one guy in the back is like, hey, listen, every time we make a game called All Stars on PlayStation, it fails, but I have a feeling about this one. I think this is it.
I have a good feeling.
This is it. So let's call this one All Stars. Let's go. Oh man.
It's funny because they use the All Stars, right? But there's no stars in the game.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm sitting here I'm wondering why are All Stars? Where's the All Stars come from? It doesn't seem like a hugely competitive league. It doesn't seem like any of these people should be known. I don't know. So it's got all the fun of Twisted Metal without any of the things that made it Twisted Metal.
You mean the fun?
There you go. That's what it was.
Well, I mean, the game isn't supposed to be fun.
It does have an interesting mechanic where basically you start off on foot and the game kind of drops these kind of floating discs with cars on them. So it's kind of this mad dash. And if you're on foot, you can kind of jump into the air and dodge a car and kind of grab onto it with triangle. And then it's a little quick time button battle. And then you can either sabotage their car or pull them out of it, pull them out of it, and toss them. So you have to worry about bailing on your car before it explodes. But I mean that mechanic wears really thin, really fast, and that's the only really new thing about it, I'd say. So it's a half idea, or it's a good idea halfway thought out, maybe. But yeah, it's as you said, Tony. This feels like a mom game. Somebody's mom wandered into a boardroom somewhere and went, oh, oh, my Timmy likes Rocket League. Can you make a game like Rocket League, but also like Fortnite? Because Timmy also likes Fortnite.
Man.
I think.
Man.
I mean,
by the
I
way,
haven't played the game.
when you said mom game, I thought like it was like a game. Like let's just say you wanted a specific game, right? But your mom bought you the knockoff version of that game instead. You're like, oh, that's not what I wanted.
Funny thing
Like,
is that
you know what I'm saying?
Fortnite was seen as a knockoff for Battleground for the longest. Remember, people, oh, this is just gonna be a knockoff because when Fortnite launched, it was a completely different game.
Yeah, and now
when they did
now
and look at it now.
Yeah, now
So maybe
PUBG's
that's-
ripping off of it according to these people. You know?
Yeah, but okay. Yes, when I say mom game, this is a game. It's like when your mom would come home and be like, "Well, they didn't have the thing you want, but I got you this. Look, it's got all the things that you like in it."
The knockoff Transformers.
Yep, that's exactly when you said mom game. That's the first thought I thought.
Your mom bought you GoBots.
Tony. This game is bag cereal, yo.
Oh man!
Damn, it's like that. It's bag cereal.
It's not Lucky Charms. It's not Lucky Charms, but it's the bag cereal that the generic brand bag cereal that you stick inside of the Lucky Charms box.
Just
to make
Lucky
your
cereal.
kid think that you're having Lucky Charms.
Yo, it's Key Food Fortunate Irishman bag cereal, man.
There you go.
Oh man, we should not be talking so much shit about the game. I know Brett played it. Fucking, we could talk shit.
That's why it's free. That's
Oh
why
man,
they do
hey,
it free.
Damien, by the way, if you're listening, I hope you enjoy that. We're shitting on a PlayStation game, man.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. From what Brett, my impressions of the way the game plays, and from what Brett has said, they were gonna charge $70 for that shit.
Oh no, Manny, it gets better. After April, they will charge $70 for this.
Yeah,
shit.
they are. That's gonna happen. Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
They're expecting people to pay for this.
Yeah,
full price.
$70.
I feel like I have a sense. I feel like it sounds like a Jaffe game.
Uh-oh.
It sounds like the last
Drawn
Jaffe
Together?
game. It sounds like Drawn Together. How we put it up for free and no one gave a shit about that game, and then they offered it for pay. Nobody cared.
Jaffe.
Well, that's the whole thing. And Brett, I disagree with the mom comment. I think this game is something that kids would love to fucking play. But the fact is, these kids are already playing those games, and this game, like you could like, and Manny brings up a great point, like fucking David Jaffe, like Cliff Bleszinski, like they all attempted the same thing. It's like, what's the new fucking hotness? Okay, what's another fucking hotness? Okay, let's put it together and release it. It's bound to be fucking successful. And that's what this is just a cash grab, and they're putting
it's a board movie, like I said.
Rocket League was also free. It was on the PSN. Remember, it was a plus game.
Yeah, it was,
no one thought of it, and look, it fucking blew up. Until this day, it got content.
Well, that didn't happen with this game.
But that's what I'm saying. You won't know until you try. And I give him say, all right, well, fine. No, we don't, because we didn't know Rocket League was there. We didn't know Fortnite was going to overtake Battlegrounds, and it did. So I think they just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
that's all. That's all you can. That's all you can really do. I mean,
that's why they put it
to
out
be honest,
before to pay for it.
They're looking to see if they can catch a little bit of that. Hey, look, it's just for free. Let's try it out, sort of deal. But at the same time, look at how many PlayStations are out there. The PlayStation 5s. This is an exclusive, yes, but at the same time, is this something that people may want to play? I don't know.
It's a sorry state of affairs when our next gen exclusives are fucking Destruction Allstars in the medium. You know.
Don't forget Bug Snacks.
Yeah, Bug Snacks. There you go, another winner. You know, but at least people like that fucking game. You know, it at least has some.
Who likes Bug Snacks?
Look at Twitter, bro. People love this fucking game. So whatever, I don't get it. I thought, Brett, I played 30 minutes of this, and I'm like, I don't do enough drugs to enjoy this game, bro.
It's the same.
I had to put that shit down.
It's the same. I mean, people liked the Octodad.
But here's the difference, though. People actually like, and I'm not saying it's a bad mass market game. People actually feel, okay, I should say that. People actually feel something for Bug Snacks. People don't feel shit.
Oh, yeah, because
that's the difference, you know?
Well, I mean, Bug Snacks has a little bit of, they tried to work in a sort of a deeper story about like mental stuff and all kinds of other things inside of it. So they tried to try to tell a more of a complicated stories under the guise of kind of goofy cartoon characters.
Yeah. But that's my point.
I mean, it's a perfectly great opportunity to tell a moral story about why you don't eat shit off the ground.
Yeah. Shit.
Damn.
All right, let's stop dogging on this fucking game.
Yo, man, don't eat stuff that mutates you into fucking food.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, it turns out at the beginning of the game, somebody just ate a hot dog they found on the sidewalk and started tripping their balls off or something.
I don't get it. I do not understand that fucking game. All right. Moving on.
Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly. All right. Annihilator, man. Right. Should Sony stop selling PlayStation 5s to shops and instead sell directly from the Sony site using security features to make it harder for scalpers? Chris, I want you to start this one first. Is this even something they could do?
Just exclusively sell? No, because you have point of purchase contracts with like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, Amazon, all these guys. So if you pull back those contracts, there's a lot of money exchanged on the side, including boosting retail of other stuff that Sony makes. So if you pull those contracts, you could have these retailers will just screw you, on the back end, right? Like, okay, so like I explained in the financials, Sony's not just PlayStation. Sony's a big company. If I was a retailer, right, and Sony called me up and said, hey, because of the scalping situation, we're not giving you any consoles. We're just going to sell them online and forget our placement, but we still want our games at the front of the store and we're going to renegotiate. I'd be like, fuck that. I'm going to put Microsoft at the front of the store and I'll put you in the back. I'll push you back. So there's give and take with that. So and once you break those contracts, it could be lawsuits and all that stuff. So you can't just do that. What they should do is pressure them in those contracts, like Walmart, and go, look, you have to do something about your purchase system. These guys are able to mass order like 5,000 systems with bots and clear them, right? And we're losing money on that. We're losing money on each system. Plus, these systems are sitting in some scalper's garage, and guess what? They're not legit players. We're not getting sales off of that. We're not getting residuals or anything.
We're not getting subscriptions off of PlayStation.
Right? Yeah. So we're losing money. We're losing more than just the console sale. We're losing potential. PlayStation Plus subscriptions. We're losing software sales because of this. You need to fix your system. What they should do is squeeze them and say, hey, we will work with the retailers that do that. Like Best Buy did something like that. Adam was describing it, where you had to go pick up the system. You couldn't just order 20, 30 consoles and have them shipped to you. So Walmart should do that.
The state, it determined it based off the IP. It was like, no, you have to be within the state. You can't just order and then drive it.
Right.
You have to be.
So Sony could encourage them, hey, listen, we're going to just ship you less systems. We're not going to give you 5,000 systems. Well, maybe we'll give you 100 systems if you're going to keep letting this happen. And we'll give more to Best Buy since their system is working, right? You use one point of purchase against the other and say, look, Best Buy is doing it right. Maybe Amazon's doing it right. Maybe they have bot protection. You don't. So you get less systems. And unless you change your act, we're just going to put it with other retailers and we're going to up our stock online and you're going to get squeezed out. And that's how you do it. So they can't break their contract. It's just that, hey, we're just going to send you less units because you're letting this shit happen. You pressure them through the business model. You don't break the contract because you get lawsuits, and you don't pull everything back because you're screwing other retailers because a couple guys can't get their shit straight.
Yeah, but has Sony been good at executing their online sales?
Actually, they haven't.
I don't know.
Yeah, they actually haven't had any scalper bullshit happen on their end. Because they said you have to be invited by them to buy a console.
Oh, that was the initial wave. What about since then?
Oh, I don't think they sell the PlayStation through their website. To be honest, I could be wrong about that.
They do?
Yeah, they do.
They do.
They do.
Okay,
I don't know.
It's a loaded question. They've had scalper problems.
Okay.
And the only time that they didn't have scalper problems was when they did the bullshit invite system, which honestly almost cost me as a customer. That fucking pissed me off. You talk about gatekeeping elitism bullshit. And yeah, part of it's because I didn't get invited. Didn't hear for fucking years, man.
Not my fault, man. Not my fault.
Adam got invited.
Adam, I know it was your fault. We're talking after the show.
Gosh.
But yeah, like I honestly think that if I didn't get one, if I didn't manage to get one, I'd be really sour right now because Sony didn't fucking deem me worthy to buy their fucking system.
You are not worthy.
They're just like, well, yeah, and then afterwards they're like, fuck it, they're already out there, let the bots take them. I'm like, what? You couldn't even like, there's not a middle step where like, hey, you already have to have an account that's more than a month old on, you have a PSN account more than a month old to get this verification code or something like that. Like, something, man. But no, they're just like, they made a big thing about when they're going to release it, and then did the whole email thing. Like, I'm convinced that was a publicity stunt at this point because they didn't follow through with any kind of plan to get PlayStations at all, man. Like, I don't think this is, and I'm not just dogging on Sony to dog on Sony. What I'm saying is, I think that everybody had problems with that this generation. I mean, Sony just randomly is like, and they're online.
That wasn't Sony, by the way. That was Walmart. They jumped the gun, and then everybody jumped the gun. It wasn't Sony. That was Walmart.
That was kind of that was kind of Sony in the sense that like you need to put your retailers on a tighter leash, bro.
Oh, I agree with that, but it wasn't Sony that said, "Go ahead, do it." It was Walmart that jumped the gun. Let's just be straight here,
Actually, they said go ahead and do it, but yeah, that was a big thing. Like my big thing on that one is, they said it's not going to be, we're going to give you a month notice, and then they didn't give us a month notice. That's bullshit, where I'm more on that. But the actual logistics of the systems where basically the scalpers came in and stole everything. I don't know anybody who's made a good solution to that. Xbox sold out just as quickly and just as there was the same kind of thing. Everybody rushed, crashed the systems, and scalpers ended up getting most of them. So it's something that both big companies, the other one, I guess all three of the big companies need to get together with retailers and figure out how they're going to do this. Because in this day and age of being able to get 50, back in the day, if you wanted, the fucking special edition Mario game card or whatever, you stood outside, and there was only one of you, and you were only allowed to buy this so many. And yeah, maybe you had friends close enough that you could convince them to stay out with you, and then let them keep the copy that you buy. But that shit was few and far between.
I think the thing
Brett, finish your point, then Manny, you go.
Oh, I think the thing about it is, until we find new solutions, there's not a good one on the table because everybody collectively dropped the ball, not any one particular
everybody
group or company.
I think this is all. I mean, it's sad that it took this long for people to realize how much of an issue this bot situation is, and how resellers are essentially a bunch of vampires. This is like I said. I keep on saying this, but this has happened in the toy and collector industry for a long ass fucking time, and all of those companies that sell specific toys. Big Bad Toy Store and a bunch of other stores, they make sure that they put a block on how many a person can get, especially if it's something that's sought after, to quell any of these situations. But places like Target and places like Walmart, they get rated and have these exclusives, which are supposed to be collector's editions of things. They have these exclusives, and they all get sold out in a second because there's a bunch of bots that literally can unlimitedly buy as many of these things that they want as they want. So, in a good sense, it's brought this sort of this idiotic behavior to the light, and now these stores will actually do something about it, which a lot of them have. Well, a lot of them have. I mean, at least Target has been sort of adjusting, with a lot of their exclusives and certain toys and things. They've made sure that they lock them down to at least 1 to 2 per person. So they have the ability to do this. So now do that for everything until the demand is not as crazy, right?
Yeah. It's going to be a problem for sure, And obviously, it became even bigger now since you can go to stores can only
you can't go to you can't go to a store, and also the stores aren't exactly trustworthy too. They have a lot of where you can do a search to find out which store has what you want. Like you can go to a Best Buy and be like, okay, Best Buy has this, and you can go to that specific Best Buy and pick it up. But sometimes what you'll have happen is that they'll say that they have them in stock, but they'll never put them on shelves.
Yeah.
What about that shit?
That's
it's a fucking pain. It's it's like, okay, and then you tell to the people like, hey, it says that you have these things, and they're like, well, it's not on the store. I'm not going to the back and get this for
Best
you.
Best Buy's been fucking up hard, man. Like I've heard stories where people they literally go online, right? They buy their whatever it is, PlayStation peripherals, whatever it may be. They go to a store, they don't fucking have it. It's like, they secured it and they don't fucking have it. This is not just for Sony. This is with everything. Like our boy Mike had to drive the fucking check. I'll tell the story on there. So Mike, he wanted to buy a Switch for his son, right? The only store that was open was in fucking Jersey. This was the early days of the Rona, right? So he gets his system, secures it, buys the system, drives to Jersey with his kid, right? Only to find out, oh no, we sold this shit to somebody already. He was fucking pissed. He was yelling and shit. Luckily for him, somebody at that same moment came to return their Switch, and then he just got that one instead. Yeah. So, but I'm like, he's so fucking security. He drives to Jersey, and then it's fucking bullshit. Best Buy sucks with this, man.
Well, yeah, they're all like that, where they'll be like, because what happens is like a lot of times, they'll do some, people do some sneaky shit, right? Yeah. So especially if you go into the store, right? Some people like to hide the shit. They like to hide the shit in a part of the store that they don't, that no people don't go to, and then granted, you can't do that with a PlayStation. But stuff like that happens, and then they
put it underneath. Yeah, it's a little tray thing, and
they'll hide it.
By the way, they'll hide it. I have this other friend. They ordered a controller, the DualSense controller, right, from Best Buy. They were ready. They told them, "Hey, come tomorrow. We'll get your shit." They were ready to buy tomorrow. Oh, well, actually, you have to wait another week. So they just went to Target instead. It's fucking Best Buy, man. Crazy. But you're right. This thing's going to be a problem for a while,
All stores are a bunch of issues. They still haven't hammered these things out.
No.
It just shows you how like we talk about, hey, everything's going to go digital, blah, 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 blah. Nah.
Listen, the pitfalls with everything, man.
You literally, the things that you have going against you, the actual stores, their actual online stores, and the fucking people that are delivering the shit to you.
Yeah.
I mean, was it not long ago? Amazon said they're going to start watching their drivers. They said they're going to start putting cameras inside the shit.
I heard about some dude, like some of these fucking delivery men delivering fucking boxes full of bricks and shit. Because they steal the consoles.
Yeah. They know it because they know what the shit looks like.
Yeah.
And the FedEx box, they know what the shit. And I heard that they were shipping PlayStations, and they're not even they don't put them in enclosures. You know what the fuck it is. Wow. Like it literally says PlayStation and all that shit on there, and nobody's gonna steal that shit.
Yeah. Hey, Tommy, they got PlayStations, man. Let's go.
Yo, man, they got that PlayStation. I got like 20 PlayStations going down to 59th Street.
You're right. Oh shit.
Oh man,
it's funny when they do that with TVs and stuff.
All I'll say is, shout out to Fergus Mills, man.
Yo, there you go. You're our boy, right, man. Got your shit. All right, let's move on, man. We got more questions. All right. Next up here, we also have Mob Hits, the rumor man himself on Discord. Oh, I don't know where he finds all these fucking rumors, man. I think he goes on 4chan. I'm like, all right, bro. It's fucking nuts.
Or was it Reddit?
It's 4chan he goes to specifically.
Either that or the dark web.
Yeah, oh shit,
Dark web.
All right, so his first question is, why do people have an obsession with Metacritic scores? All right, this is a bit of a question right here, right? Because there's multiple components, right? Try to break them down for you guys, right? I'm going to start at the top, and then we'll work our way down. Okay. For reasons that I still do not understand, right? Companies tie bonuses that they give to their developers based on their Metacritic score. So, and this is still happening, by the way. This is not something that a long time ago still happened. So if a game were to get an 85 on Metacritic, every developer in whatever studio, named studio, whatever, would get bonuses. But if it gets 84, no bonuses for anybody, right?
CD Projekt Red did it before they rescinded it.
Yeah, exactly. They used to do that shit. And then on the lower level, it's easy for people to see a meta score and just go, okay, this game's good or bad based on that meta score, right? So on the top end, which is the mysterious part to me, they base these scores, like they use these scores to give bonuses and shit. And then for the gamer side, they use it, let's just be honest, mostly for console war bullshit. But the genuine people who use it the way they're supposed to, it's just an easy way for them to see the score, see a couple of reviews, and base the decisions off of that. So that's why people go to Metacritic. You guys know how I feel about Metacritic, and yes, I am, full disclosure, yes, the reviews I write for PC Mag do end up on Metacritic. My scores, whatever score I give a game does affect the overall score. But with that said, I think Metacritic is bad for the industry. I think review scores are bullshit. And you guys already know how I feel about that. So I'm not going to rant about that shit again.
Well, I want to hear it, Tony. But before you throw this out there, like.
I'm already done.
Okay.
That's my piece.
What's an alternative? What do they base their bonuses on?
Well, they should base their bonuses on money.
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, no, Brett. That part I already said I don't know enough about to say anything about it. I'm just talking about for the regular consumer. It's like, don't just base everything off a fucking score. For the executive shit, I have nothing to say about that.
Here's the thing. It should be performance based. If you set an expectation, let's say you put out some AAA title or whatever, like an action game, and you say it 4 million in the market is our goal.
There you go. Yeah.
And you hit over 4 million, yes. Then you do your bonuses, right? And every number over that, let's say we went 50% over expectation, the bonus goes up. We went 100%, we doubled that, 8 million in the market. The bonuses go up. It should be best on Metacritic score. That seems like a way to screw over your developers, because if you go over your sales expectation and yet you get a low score, a low critic score,
yeah, that's bullshit.
Then nobody gets bonuses, even though you sold well.
Yeah, I'm with Chris on that. So bonuses should be based on how much, how many copies your game has sold. That's perfect. That's a perfect way to go about it.
Okay, I mean, I didn't get the chance to say, like, I'm not being contentious here. I don't necessarily believe that, I don't know where my personal belief lies. I'm just kind of asked the question to ask the question.
Yeah.
Like, because they have to get their bonus from somewhere. So
I agree.
What criteria? Because I can't decide, man.
Yeah, I can't. Sales that's a perfect one. You expected it. You expected this game to sell 2 million and sold 4 bonuses for everybody.
But see, that's the thing. That could be completely advertising. What if your game gets released in the shadow of another game, and it's fucking fantastic, but because it's not just how many sold period, it's how many sold in like the first month or whatever.
Yeah,
unless you're going to delay bonuses for 6 months, so then what happens to the sleeper hits, right? Like, what happens to the Bloodborns of the world? Because they don't come out fast and strong. They kind of sizzle and build up numbers.
Yeah, it's a good question.
So you can have a really good game that doesn't sell great for some reason, and I would hate to be at a company that made a great fucking game and they just didn't advertise it well enough, and we came out like within a month of The Last of Us, and so like it never, it sold, but not during the month when everybody was playing The Last of Us, and boom, my bonus is gone.
Maybe
so I don't know what the difference is there, but I can see problems with issues with both.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Well, then don't do it based on the singular game. You can do it based on your financial projection for the year. If you beat your financial projection, and obviously you will if your game oversells, right? If you sell past expectation, you beat your financial projection, boom, bonuses, right? So then it doesn't matter. It's completely abstracted from individual set. It certainly shouldn't depend on outside external reviews, because and then again, remember, Metacritic, just like Rotten Tomatoes and whatever, people may not agree with the critic scores. We've seen disparity, right?
Yeah.
You could have users absolutely love a game, it's like 9 out of 10, and then critics don't like it, right? So you have those disparity, but they're basing off of critic scores, not user scores. They're people who are buying the game, right?
Yeah.
The worst.
So
fucking user scores are the worst.
User scores are shit. Yeah, I agree. Because there's a bunch of fucking trolls, you know. I'm like, go ahead.
Yeah, so if you can't trust, I'm like, you can't trust those things. You have to go with your beating projections, right? You absolutely have to go with the sales, even if it's like, okay, you got lucky. But I mean, and that's a rare thing. If you ride the coattails of something else and your sales get boosted or whatever, you can't know that for sure, right? You have to at least assume you made a quality product, right? That people keep buying it.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But Chris, what about companies handle it their own different ways instead of just like a standardized thing? Maybe every company should do their own thing.
No, it shouldn't be standardized. Yeah, it should be up to the company. I mean, some give bonuses, some shouldn't. I think there should be performance if the thing performs well, and you look at your own sales projections and you're seeing it's coming from the game sales. Then okay, you give your team people who worked on it something, right? That's what I believe. You know, I don't think it should be up to a third party. Like outside review scores, I don't think it should be user review scores. I think it should come from your sales projections.
I agree. Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to add anything to that? All right. I think we covered. I think we covered it.
I think just real quick, a lot of these bonuses mostly are tied to execs and not the actual developers. So it's also that's part of the whole criteria. Like, you know, like I think I feel more like with Brett's argument saying that what if the game is a late bloomer, then then I feel for the devs if they somehow do that. But those the Metacritic scores, for example, Cyberpunk, they did the whole thing with Cyberpunk, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was just for the execs that got bonuses. I don't think the actual devs were tied to that.
Yeah, that's some bullshit, man.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Fuck that. Yeah, and because execs never take the hit if a product sells poorly, who gets laid off? It's the team guys, the guys who built it.
Yeah,
they don't take a hit. You know, they don't do stuff like Iwata used to do, where he cut his salary in half every year. Nintendo performed poorly, right? Because he didn't want people to lose their jobs.
Yeah,
Bobby Kotick isn't taking a hit when he released some bullshit.
You know, he'll just take more money.
And you sure as hell damn know that Jim Ryan ain't doing that shit.
So, is there a way, like, what do they call it? Derivatives? Like, is there a way that you could keep paying dev as the game sells? Like, you get 0.0025% of each sale. And, like, so collectively, the dev team gets, like 10%, of total sales kind of divvied up into their paycheck. Yeah, maybe $5 this month, $30 next month, $100 the month after that, $50 that month after that. But maybe don't do it in one big chunk. Maybe just tie it to like, hey, if you worked on this game, then for the next 6 months, a year, we're going to kind of drip feed you money. Because the problem is, like, good games go unnoticed. Then they hit things like the best of PlayStation exclusive lists, splash across the front of the PS Store page, and then sell like hotcakes. So I think not tying it to you get it this time, but like, hey, if the game keeps selling well, then you keep getting little extra bits on top of that.
Well, this extra bits, you could also approach it from like a Japanese perspective. Even a bad product needed to be worked on, right? That people work hard on it. So you could still do a standard bonus for everyone, and then you have perks on top of it. So, even if something sell well, it doesn't mean people didn't work hard to create it. That's the Japanese philosophy. And you could do Western one. It's like, hey, we do well, everyone does well. The shit sells well, everybody gets something. That's how I would do it.
In a perfect world, the middle to upper management would be responsible, look at what they did and say, you guys have done a good job. Objectively, whether the game sells well or not, you guys have worked hard and made a fantastic product. Here's a bonus. Like most bonuses are, but they want to tie them to weird real-world metrics that are disassociated from or twisted through a lot of elements that are outside of the hands of the devs. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You just tip, not tip them. You just give them bonuses for doing a good job, because that's what a bonus is.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on. Next question, also from Mob Hits. This one's a fun one.
Just saying, give them a bonus for the crunch time. Had to throw that at you.
All right. All right, this one's pretty straightforward. And Chris, I want you to go first because you're probably the biggest fan of this franchise. What are your top 3 Castlevania games?
Oh man. All right. So I'd say number 3 would be Bloodlines on the Genesis. My second favorite was Castlevania 3 on NES. And my favorite, a lot of people don't like this game, but I loved Castlevania 2 on NES. I love that game. I know a lot of people hated the day-night thing and all that shit.
Oh, wait, people hate that?
People hate that game. Yeah, that's one of the most hated Castlevania games.
But one thing, it introduced a lot of things that were taken out in subsequent Castlevania games. It had RPG elements. I mean, you had items, you had item management, all this stuff. They added all this shit in. I was like, wow, this game got deep, right? Castlevania 3 threw that away. It went right back to like, nope, just go with it with a whip and fucking and a secondary weapon and hit everything that ate you, you know, kill that fucking Dracula. That it went back to simplicity, and that's how the game stayed, and that's fine. But I kind of liked how Castlevania 2 tried to like raise the bar and do clever things, like what they thought was clever, like the day-night mechanic and all that stuff. So I enjoyed that game. I played the shit out of that game. It had multiple endings. I love that game.
Nice. I'll go next. And I'm going to steal a lot of people's answer right now. The obvious one, Symphony of the Night, right? Because the classic Metroidvania game. I'm going to throw a weird one in here just because it was actually my first Castlevania game. I forgot the name of it, but the one on Game Boy, the first one, I really liked that one. I was like, this is cool. You get to whip shit. This is dope. You know?
You get to whip shit.
Yeah, I forgot the name of that one specific, but the Game
Was
Boy
it the Castlevania Adventure?
I think it was Castlevania Adventure. Yeah, it was my first.
It's funny because that's one of the most hated ones too.
Yeah, it is. People don't like that one, but I liked it. So Chris, I'm with you on that one. I chose a hated one as well, and I'm having a hard time between Super Castlevania and the first one because that first one is a fucking classic. But I'm gonna go with Super Castlevania because I like the 8-way whipping. It's like before.
He could swing too.
Yeah, he could swing. Yeah, so I'm gonna go Super Castlevania, man, because that game was crazy. So those are my top 3. All right, Manny, Castlevania games.
I'm gonna say Symphony of the Night. The original Castlevania, and I'm gonna go with the Super Castlevania 3.
Nice. All right, Adam, Castlevania.
Only liked one, the Super Nintendo one.
A Super Castlevania.
That was the only one because of that rotating room.
That shit was crazy.
Blew my mind. Yeah, when I played, I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Damn, I'm still not going to sell me on buying one of these Super NESs." But damn, this was fun. Remember Max, Tony? What's his name? Manny, the one that's up there. There you go.
What's his name? Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
I remember that.
He had it. So he lived in my building, so I would just go downstairs and play it at his place.
Nice. All right.
He had a lot of stuff.
All right, Brett, Castlevania games.
I didn't play a shit. Like I'm sitting there, I was like, I don't really remember that many. Like to choose from a list of 3 is. So I liked Castlevania 2. I agree with Chris. Like I dug the items and shit like that. I was like, okay, cool. 3 is
oh yeah.
3 was one that I really enjoyed. I'll be honest here. I can't remember if 3 and Super Castlevania were separate games or together. This is kind of blurring together for me.
No, they were separate games.
Okay, because it's like I remember
but
I might be thinking of the same fucking game.
Yeah.
It's the unofficial Castlevania 4. The ones for Super Nintendo was like it would be Castlevania 4, but it's essentially a remake of Castlevania 1. That's the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Castlevania 3 is its own game. And it's the basis for the Netflix.
Yeah, it's the Netflix. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a prequel.
Okay, and Symphony of the Night.
Of course, man. Got to go with it. All right. This is going to be fun because I've never heard these guys even talk about Castlevania before. Carlos, do you have anything to add? I guess not.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I played Symphony of the Night, and that's it. I don't think I played any other Castlevania games.
So that wins by default.
Yeah.
All right.
Shit, I even picked up the Switch $20 collection that had all of them, and I only played the Super Nintendo one because that was
none of us can be as cool as you, man. Sorry.
Sorry.
Here's the thing with like I would have picked Symphony of the Night, but like by that time that game was fantastic. By the time I came out, I had played so many Castlevania games, and the last one I played before that was Castlevania 64, which is trash, by the way.
Yeah,
that's trash. That's the bottom one. Don't ever play that.
Yeah.
I made nobody's list.
All right, Brian, have you ever played Castlevania?
I've only played the one, actually, so I guess by default it wins, and that one was Bloodborne.
Yeah. Oh man! By the way, that's when like Bloodborne really clicked for me. There was that Castle Gainhurst or something. I was like,
Canehurst, yeah.
Like, holy shit! This is Castlevania. Like it all clicked. The whole game clicked. You know?
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute.
I was like, hold on, giant castle full of vampires. And then I thought back about what I had been doing up to that point, fighting werewolves, all these manners of creatures of night. Holy shit, this is Castlevania.
Also, the dying 9 million times.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
I don't know about you guys. Maybe I just sucked when I was little, but man, like Castlevania
I've never beaten the first Castlevania game. It was fucking hard, you know? I love the fucking game, but it was brutal.
It took forever, man.
Yeah. Crazy. Super Castlevania I did beat, though, you know? All right, that was good. All right, moving on to the next question. This is from Mr. Tumeke. I believe he's in the room right now, Mr. Blitz. All right, this one's interesting. Okay, predict the next gen direction. 360 PS3 focus on online. Xbox One, PS4 brought sharing content, built-in streaming. PS5 and Xbox Series X focus on much improved CPU and super SSD. So what will be the focus of next gen? Bro, I think this is too fucking early. Be asking this question.
We already know. We know what it is. It's not that early.
We actually don't. Here, and I will.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, Adam, I'll let you go next. But this is what I'm going to say about that. We are not going to know what it is until the generation is over. All these things that you listed, like 360 getting online, we kind of knew games were going to head down that route when we were in the PS2 era. The online sharing thing, streaming, we knew that was coming. And SSDs, we knew that was coming. But we don't know yet. So we will know a year before the next generation comes. So that's when I will be able to answer you. Because right now, I don't have any data. But Adam, you have an answer. So what do you say?
High-end streaming, where we can stream these games 4K with no problem. That's going to be.
And you're talking about 6-7 years from now. This is what he's asking.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, for the next one. Yeah. That's what they're going to hype up. That it's like, don't worry about space or any of that stuff, because now with a click of a button, boom, there's no buffer, there's no issues. You're playing 4K smooth with the ray tracing, with all the bells and whistles, and that shit's streaming. We figured out a way to compress it so you don't have lag issues. That's going to be the future. That's what they're working on now.
Okay.
By that point, it should be mastered. I mean, shit. Look where we came from with Real Player, and here we are now.
All right. Anybody else want to take a crack at predicting 6 years in the future?
Well, what did Microsoft predict last generation that we haven't gotten to yet? Because that seems to be the fucking roadmap that we're going down.
Kinect.
Remember the original Xbox One X? Or the original Xbox One.
We're gonna have TV Network, Connect. They ordered pizza, which eventually did. So, I got Pizza Hut pizza. You can get.
Yeah. But everyone was like, "Fuck you! I don't want to." Like a few years later, somebody else introduces it, and everyone's like, "This is a great idea." Like, I'll be honest, I was one of those people at the time that I was like, "Fuck you, no!" But now I'm like, apparently it came to the party a little too early, or. I mean, they definitely didn't deliver the message well, but goddamn, it's uncanny how many of these things have come to pass. So I'm going to say digital game sharing. Once they get digital fully down, then the idea of like, well, no, I can't share my game with my friends. All infomercial style.
I think we'll have that during this generation. I'd say a few updates. We'll have that.
You think so? I think we're not going to get it until next generation.
We're seeing so many of them follow in Steam and Epic. They especially with the layouts and overlays. We see them doing that. That's just the next step, because you could already do it on those services.
No, yeah, that's why I'm saying it'll be next. Like, consoles take forever to fucking catch up. So, and that this time around, like, it was still 4K. They didn't have to bust out the big guns. You know, they didn't have to make any promises of innovation or anything like that. But next gen, one of them is going to, you know, they're going to kind of dance around it like a fucking Mexican standoff, or one of them is going to be like, all right, free digital game sharing, and the other one's going, okay, me too. You know, it's a weapon in their arsenal that I think is the biggest chunk missing, and I think it has the biggest calling. I don't know how to put it. It's the biggest hole in the gaming experience now. It's something that we've lost, and they don't necessarily want to give us, but it's part of the gaming experience. So I think, and because I don't know, is Steam letting you game share now?
Yeah, you can.
You share for the longest.
You can have like a family sharing thing, and then you can share them to your family.
God damn, we're behind. Yep. It's because I don't. Do you guys, Brian? Anybody else? Do you guys think they'll actually give it to us mid-gen?
No.
So I think we'll get that.
I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll get that. I think we'll get game sharing. I think we're going to get gifting. We'll be able to finally gift.
Like, is this what you think or what you want? There's a difference.
This is what I think. I think by this, if we're from the trend that we see, it's like a bird just getting from the mom, little pieces of the worm. And I think that's eventually what these consoles are going to get, because that's what's been trickling out, like we just said, from everything that the PC services are doing. So that's the next step. That's it. That's what they're really missing, because you could already do that. And Microsoft is already on that track with doing the digital refunds. So it's just the next step.
All right. What about the rest of you guys? Predictions for next gen.
My prediction is that
I know. I see that face. I know. I'm like, it's too fucking early, bro. It is too early.
Yeah.
Because all these. The thing about all these predictions that we're making are shit that we want that are available on PC. I'm like, you can't properly predict this, man. You really can't. You know.
It's not like it's going to change between now and the next gen, though.
But again, we have to make a decision of what we think will happen versus what we want to happen. What we want to happen is a totally different thing than what we think is going to happen. You know, I want better AI. I don't think that's going to happen. You know,
no. This thing isn't a want. This is a think, because check it out. If I could make a console today and have it put in, if I could have them relaunch the PlayStation today and have them put it in, I would, right? And so when we get there, 7 years from down the road, it's going to be 8 years after they should have done it, which is exactly when they seem to do things.
Yeah, but I don't really hear any console guys talk about game sharing like that, to be honest. I mean, if you think that's going to happen, it's cool, but I don't see that happening.
Dude, I'm telling you, and this is, I'm happy getting to this point. I think it's because we're going to see the rise of social gaming.
Aren't we already seeing that shit?
We're starting to, yeah.
I mean,
we're going to continue
but
into
I think,
it, man.
what do you mean we're starting? We've been doing that for a whole generation. These fucking streams.
We've kind of been doing that, yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing that. That's old already, you know?
No, because you still have your big personal cinematic experiences. By that, I mean we're going to integrate into a social platform that there's almost no way that you can go do it by yourself. That in 10 years playing a game like The Last of Us, while it's not going to be shunned, it's going to be seen like going into your room and shutting the door from everybody else. And even then, they'll probably have ways to message you or talk to you in game or something like that. Like,
but that happens now.
Getting integrated.
Think about it. Every single player game I play is connected online. Anybody can hit me up at any time, so I'm already connected with other people.
You can't jump in your game.
No, but that's a different type of game.
Why would I want them to?
Why would you want that? You know? Yeah, that's a different. If you want that, buy that type of game.
I don't think we don't want that.
So wait, are you saying that in 10 years we're not going to see any more single player games? Every game will just be online multiplayer. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying we're gonna see a significantly heavier tilt towards online games.
Oh, okay.
And hybrid games too.
Brett,
like you're gonna see more like what the
Division. We see more Division games.
more Division, more Fortnite.
I think this is a moot point, because we've been seeing
moot. Get the shit right. Moot.
Nah, that's just mute to me.
No,
this has been going on forever. Like you're not really saying anything, saying that we're going more online. That's how we've been.
We're already online. That's
okay.
It's already come.
To say that we'll be fully integrated, then I don't.
We are fully integrated.
We already are, though. I don't understand.
We're just gonna have a whole bunch of multiplayer online games with a sprinkle of single players, and that's how it's.
No, you're gonna have a whole bunch of online games with a sprinkle of single player campaigns in them. That's what I'm saying.
That's how it's been.
Didn't Carlos just say that?
That's exactly what I said.
You're like, no.
No, he said
exactly the same thing.
No, he said, damn you people. He said with a bunch of single player games put in there. I said, no, you have some single player modes in multiplayer games. So that's the point.
We do that now.
No,
you're just adding a different qualifier.
Yeah, no, but Brett, so again, I'm asking you. So you're saying we're not going to see any more single player games anymore? That's what you're saying?
Are you saying games that have no interaction with anybody online? Yes, we will see almost none of those. Even these single player cinematic games.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. Yeah. So no, there will not be any single player games according to you. Okay, that's all I wanted to get out of you.
I mean, look, if somebody just interacts with you in a single player game, it doesn't make it a multiplayer game, in my opinion.
But again, that's just me. I'm gonna ask one last time. I'm gonna ask one last time.
Tony.
Yeah.
Is fucking God damn it. Is Death Stranding a single player game?
No. It's not.
Yes.
Okay. Then
yes and no.
It's not because you're always connected. Yeah.
Well, but
there's no other players playing in the game with you.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's what
I'm saying. You see what they did, but you didn't. You see what you did. You see what they did. Yeah. In other words, you're talking about more passively online games. So in other words, it's like you're online, but you're not.
Yes, thank you, Annie.
Yeah, well, so like, I mean, that's how it is. Games like a game like what was it, like, you know, Death Stranding is a good one. Gravity Rush had a small, like a passive online mode to it too, where where you can sort of weirdly compete with people.
I know there are some games like that. Before you chime in, I'm saying all of them will be like that. Your Resident Evil will be like that.
Resident Evil already is like that.
What's the passive online multiplayer in Resident Evil?
You have to connect to RENet. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to be always online.
And it's matching.
Oh my god! It's like you guys are trying to misunderstand me.
No, you were talking. That's what I'm saying. It's always online. I'm not talking about multiplayer. Who cares about fucking multiplayer?
Oh,
like those things, like fucking Death Stranding. Death Stranding is like. Is that even multiplayer?
Well, dude,
like
it's like this. That was my original point. I didn't say all games are going to be online. I said all games are going to be fucking multiplayer.
No, I disagree with that.
Yes, passively multiplayer. Thank you, Manny, for fielding that one. Yes, almost all games will probably be passively multiplayer in the next 10 years.
Oh, my bad. I was muted. That's all I wanted to get out of you. That's literally all I wanted to get out of you. All right. I don't even know what the fucking question was anymore.
Predictions for the future.
So you think? So I have a question.
Oh yeah, I mean, I already said my piece. I think it's way too fucking early to predict.
All right, so I'll ask a question then. Yeah. So Brett, do you think Hellblade 2 is gonna have passively multiplayer feature?
No, because that's coming out soon.
I was about to say that it's coming out next year, bro.
Next year? Well, that's within the next 10 years.
No, we're talking about 6 years onward, Carlos. Come on now.
Yeah, dude. I'm saying that we're going to slowly see the progression of other people being able to make an impact in your game, whether it be active or passive. Something that Tony's going to fucking hate. Because he'll be online playing like Dead Space 7, right? And it'll be like, well, each time one of your friends sends you a comment in the fucking the PlayStation app, we're going to spawn a new hell demon.
Well, I don't think...
Isn't that fun? You're like, no.
I don't think Tony hates multiplayer games.
Yeah, listen. If I'm playing a multiplayer game, knowing it's a multiplayer game, then fine. That's not a problem. But Brett, I just won't buy that type of game. Simple as that. I just won't buy it. You know?
Tony, one of Tony's favorite games last generation is fucking Monster Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. It's a multiplayer game.
No, I get that. Are you going to be okay though? Like in Cyberpunk, if the prices of all the weapons were tied to an online economy?
No, I just won't buy it then. Simple as that. I just won't buy the fucking... Listen, I've said this many times. I've even said this on the show. When we get to the point where games become such bullshit, I'm just going to play retro stuff. I'm done with the new shit. That's what I said. You know?
I don't think it's a bad thing. Like being...
No, you don't. I do. I think it's horrible. I'm like, listen, I play games... With exceptions, obviously, like Monster, I play games to be in my world and to be in that game's world. I don't want some motherfuckers just jumping into my shit. You know, that's not the experience I want.
and for you, I agree, and I think a lot of people share that opinion. But that's where the passive part becomes important. Like I can see a lot of games saying like, oh, like the online economy is all tied together. You're not playing against other people, but like if you sell something, it actually gets sold to another player in the world, like kind of like Diablo did, actually.
I have a question. Not to derail too much. Where's the appeal in that? The
appeal is for all the people. Like, you have to realize that these Fortnite kids are gonna grow up, and their whole generation is all about being connected, right? We're old in that sense, right? Like, we don't even like Facebook. These people want to be connected to their friends at all times, and that means they're probably going to be in group chat, right? Not probably. That's something that already happens.
They're already there, yeah.
A lot of times, and they may not be playing the same game. So having the ability to affect your friend's game, even when you're not playing it, I think is going to be kind of something that we do more. As much as I hate to say it, I think Death Stranding was kind of a genius game that we're going to copy in that sense, where like, oh, I'm not playing with somebody, but I still have my actions have effect. They have consequence, and that helps to build a community. Building a community around a game tends to create this kind of echo chamber until it finally bursts forth and everybody hears everybody yelling about how great the game is. And that's great for grassroots advertising. So we're just going to kind of go that route and cover our asses. So they'll be able to, it'll be a single player game, but there'll be some weird fucking aspect of it that is tied to other people's games, so you can feel like you're affecting other people's games. I mean, even we had the leaderboard. It's kind of the equivalent of that. You'd play a game, so when we first got online, you play a game so hard so that you can see your name at the top of the leaderboard. And when you're talking about playing online, you're like, well, I mean, what else is there? There's only the high scoreboard. Like, what? I mean, yeah, you can play a versus game, you play Street Fighter, but really, it's all about that that leaderboard. Now we don't even use leaderboards anymore.
I agree with you, Brad. I think, but like I guess my point is like we've been seeing that forever now. Like even like I think a game like Super Stardust HD has a fucking leaderboard where it's like, yeah, it's a single player game, but every time you beat a level, you're comparing yourself to your friends list.
It's a relatively safe guess. Like we see it here and there. It's not the norm yet, though. And like I feel like it will become annoyingly the norm in the next 6-7 years. I mean, 6-7 years is not that long. Now we're gonna have floating consoles in that time. But I can see like passive multiplayer almost becoming intrusive. And I can see Tony really disliking it.
Yeah, no, I just won't buy the game. Simple as that, man. There's no reason to complain. Just don't fucking buy it.
I'm telling you, Tony, those games get hard to avoid.
And like I said, when it gets to that point, I'll just stop buying new games and play old shit. There's plenty of old shit to play that I haven't touched yet. So I've had this plan for 20 years, Brett. I'm good.
And it's also ironic that you're talking about single player games that have things that are intrusive. Well, you guys are one of your favorite games is Demon Souls or Dark Souls. That's the epitome of a single player game that's really intrusive.
Oh no, I'm saying this is somebody who loves multiplayer, both passive and active. Like I love the idea. Like I'll be the one helping to pioneer that trail, man. I love when other people's games bleed into mine, or my game can bleed into other people's. You know what every game should have you have the ability to jump in as a random enemy. Not an overpowered one, just one of the foot soldiers. Like, I don't know, like you walk into a room and you see like a fucking soldier like spinning circles in the left corner of the room. You're like, oh, my friend must be playing that guy. I see no reason for that not to be a thing, or at least an option in almost every game. I love that shit. So yes, make more Dark Souls stuff. Make it so I can invade people's games more. One of the best mechanics ever invented, other than throwing things with your mind.
I've never invaded other people's games unless it's tied for a trophy. I'm like, why would I do that shit? It's just annoying,
Bloodlust?
Nah, I don't care about that shit. All right, let's move on to the next.
Get out of my game, Brett.
Again, I don't talk about that shit. All right,
is that you, Brett? Get out of my game.
Let's move on.
In 5 years you'll be yelling at me like, get the fuck out of my game, Brett.
I'm trying to play, bro.
I mean, Tony, there's somebody we know, there's a certain game we're playing, and we're like, shit, we definitely don't want that happening, and we avoid this. Now, think if that was just something that happened all the time.
Yeah, that'd be. Adam, I have my plan, bro. When games become too annoying, I'm just playing retro shit. I'm done. I'll start a YouTube channel, a retro YouTube channel like fucking Metal Jesus and shit. You know.
Well,
hey guys, hey, welcome to Tony Rocks.
Yeah.
Hey, Reggie's here.
Yo, you know that Brett's Utopia.
My Reggie's gonna be Weapon X though. You know.
Yo, you know when Brett's Utopia is gonna happen?
When?
Whenever a Nintendo console gets voice chat.
Oh
shit!
Why would that be my utopia?
Oh man!
Because of the console that limits sort of connectivity, whether they're people, is lagging behind. So whenever they get voice chat, it's like, oh, that's how you know this shit's really turned into.
Maybe.
No, Brett's ultimate game is gonna be like if he has Dark Souls abilities in Zelda.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, honestly, for me, it's even like, okay, like let's say, like actually, you bring up Nintendo, but like Animal Crossing does a pretty good job of even being passively multiplayer. I think, like let's say you have like a jacket, right? Your character's a leather jacket. Like maybe you're like Manny, and you're good at art. And you want to like design something, or Manny wants to put his E-Man logo on the back of his jacket, right? Like maybe he can, and then maybe he can upload it so other people can download the designs and be part of Team E-Man, right? Like that's very passive, but I appreciate that because it expands the marketplace of available customization, you know, and it offloads the work to your player base instead of you. So I think that kind of thing's a good idea.
And then Nintendo goes, everything created in Animal Crossing belongs to us.
Yeah, no, I mean, see,
no, Nintendo.
I'm sure the intellectual rights of anything you submit are theirs to use or blah, 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 or whatever. But yeah, I like the idea of being able to select community-made things and put them in a single-player game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, man. Next question, also from Mr. Shoemaker. Yeah, I'm bored with the topic already. To be honest, all right. Yeah, keep it real and throw it down. Man. All right. Okay. What was the most creative generation of gaming? A creative as in fresh, interesting ideas, risk taken, weird and wonderful IPs, etc. If it wasn't any of the last two generations, why is that? All right, so two-part question for Mr. Shoemaker. By the way, I know that was your bonus question, but I'm combining them into one. I think the most creative generation, I'm going to go with the Super Nintendo era. We had a lot of different games back then, you know, because games were still coming into their own. You could also make an
also games.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, games were cheaper to make.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
didn't need to have 200 people teams to make those.
The last creative generation was probably the PS2 era because we still saw weird, crazy games and stuff. Then after that, things kind of tapered off. But it's also tied to Mr. Ronan's upcoming question. But yeah, let's just answer this one first. So Adam, I'm going to go individually. Adam, what generation do you think was most creative in gaming?
It's got to go with the NES, coming from the Atari and all that shit, and then just having that experience was mind blowing. You know, I was like, holy shit. It wasn't even just that. It was just like Mario. I was like, oh, Mario. No. It was just the fact like elevator action and all these games that I played only in arcades. Now I could play at home. This is nuts. Commando and those type of games. And I had an Atari and you couldn't do that shit with the stick and one button. It was a pain in the ass. So then to have the Nintendo, I felt like that was the future. I'm like, this is it. This is the ultimate thing. Well, we had Metal Gear and all that. That was never that. There was no other way to play a game like that. So for me, that's where it started. That was the beginning, the NES.
All right, Manny.
Yeah, I was gonna go with the Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna agree with Adam. I feel like the Nintendo was a part of it where it's sort of, you know, kind of blazing the trail of what a game, what a modern game could be. And you had a lot of, you know, obviously, you know, you had experimentation, but you also had them people sort of figuring out what their formulas. And yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah. By the way, I should add, I wanted to go with Nintendo, but then I went with Super Nintendo just because they had more raw horsepower to actually make these things real. But I cannot disagree with the Nintendo one, you know, because you're right. All right, Carlos, most innovative gaming generation or creative gaming generation?
I guess for me, it just depends on whether you look at it from a hardware perspective or a software perspective, or which one leans more heavily. Because if I were to say the hardware, I think I would say the maybe the Wii era, the Wii with the motion controls, PlayStation with the new disc, the Blu-ray disc, and the cell architecture, and the 360 was just basic.
It's not a whole generation, is it?
Yeah, that is actually one. That is actually one.
Well, no, I thought the question was which one. Is it a whole generation?
Well,
which generation was the most creative?
Oh, okay, yeah, cool, good catch.
And I think the games were pretty. The 360, the 360 PS3 era games are sort of the rubric of what games are right now. Like, I think that's the last generation where games actually evolved. But it's like Tony said, it's hard to argue with any of the mentions that were said earlier. NES, Super Nintendo era, because those generations literally worked from nothing.
Yeah.
To create their experiences. So, yeah, they're all good answers for me.
All right, Brett.
Okay. Fun answer, Dreamcast. Dude, that thing was out for felt like 2 weeks, and it had a microphone. It had the blueprint for the style of controllers that we still use.
Online.
It had swappable memory card.
It had Sega Channel, man. Sega Channel.
Yeah.
Online gaming. That was the first one that had it.
Yeah, but it didn't live long enough to really keep up with that pace. So I'm gonna say the PS2 Xbox, OG Xbox era. I mean,
by the way, it's the same era as a Dreamcast. By the way.
Yes,
I mean,
still fits.
Kind of. Okay, yeah,
so
it all still fits.
Yeah, it all fits.
If it still fits, boom, that one. Because we got the blueprint for all modern shooters. I mean, y'all remember what shooters were before Halo, and then what shooters were after Halo?
Yeah. Fucking GoldenEye, that was before Halo, and then Halo was Halo after Halo.
Yeah, dude, like
hard drive and an Ethernet port.
Yeah, for those of you that are too young to have been there, the shooters used to be weirdly awkward and janky, and nobody managed to get them right. And then one day, as a gamer, you played Halo. Like, maybe somebody just showed it to you at a friend's house, or like me, you played it at like a mall kiosk or something like that. And the weird thing was, like, within 3 seconds of laying your hands on the controllers, you intuitively knew how to do everything. You're like, oh my god, why hasn't it been like this forever? It was almost like shockingly advanced. Because before, like, you're like, oh my god, I could just turn and look at the ground or look at the sky and keep moving this way. Like, this is amazing. Does anybody else remember that?
Well, that was funny because I played PC games back then, and I played Doom and Quake and all that stuff, so I was already used to that shit. Half-Life.
Yeah, Halo, it just made first-person
console
work in consoles. Yeah, but first-person, yeah, exactly. They were not good.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, I played Doom and all that stuff. Like, I don't know why. Like, for some reason, having it on console just felt like it's just so relaxing. Like driving on a highway with extra wide lanes. You're like, oh, this is nice.
All right.
So, and PlayStation 2 doesn't need to. It's self-explanatory.
Yeah, pretty much DVDs. All right, Brian, what you got?
I'd actually be in agreement with Brett. He probably stole my answers, but yeah, that generation, like the PS2, Xbox One game. Well, yeah, PS2, Xbox. Fucking Xbox name conventions. The OG Xbox.
Yeah, Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like I said, I think that's the last creative generation. That's my personal opinion. All right, Chris, what you got?
So, all right, so this it's a two-part thing, right? So, most creative library or generation.
Again, this is what the question says. It says, hold on. Creative as in fresh, interesting ideas, risk-taking, weird and wonderful IPs, etc. So it could be anything. It could be a bunch of this shit or more. Hardware, whatever. Hardware.
I would
games,
say, for me, that was Genesis and Super Nintendo. Like the library in there. I mean, you had games like Toe Jam and Earl and Earthworm Jim, and I played. I mean, who who at Sunsoft decided, you know what, we're gonna put a possum in armor and give him a jetpack, and that's a game.
Yeah.
You know, they took fucking chances back then, and I won't begrudge like Dreamcast or PS2. Our PS2 library was fantastic. It was probably one of the best library of any generation.
Objectively speaking,
but,
yeah.
But like the creative stuff, I mean, like shit. When I got Genesis, I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, and I had the leap like Adam did. I always talk about going from Atari to NES and the technological leap, but that library was lacking because I disagree. Like, I was always disappointed going to the arcade and playing something like you talked about POW. Play Double Dragon in the arcade, and you go play the NES version, and it's like, this sucks. Or Battletoads in the arcade or whatever.
Though that was the thing. That was.
But it wasn't the same game. It was always like a watered down experience.
I should add that during that era, Chris, that's also my answer to SNES era. That's also when CD started. Sega CD. You know, you had all these other CD kind of systems popping up at that era. You know,
dude, they had modular system.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, 32X.
Yeah, the Genesis was modular. Yeah.
Oh man, they had a 3DO.
Yeah, the 3DO.
Dude,
it is from that generation. Yeah.
If the Tower of Power was not radical, I don't know what is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
In both senses of the word.
Yeah, that is true. Radical, dude. Yeah. So that you just reinforcing my answer. The SNES era Genesis, you know. Very innovative. It just seemed like all these companies were just going wild, doing all these things. And to the second part of the question, why do we not consider the last two generations that innovative? Because they weren't. That's why.
Fucking disappointing, man.
Yeah, the worst generations, man. The PS3 era was cool. It was cool, but last gen, you know, oh man, what a fucking. There were some good games. Don't get me wrong, but what a disappointment overall. Easily the worst console generation ever. You know,
the best games were the PS3 games when it launched with the stuff from the last year. Like, that should tell you something right there, man. Like, it didn't even have, even it was like, yeah, the games from last generation are the best games. We're just gonna give you those.
Yeah,
that's what started this whole fucking bullshit.
The funny thing is now the games we're playing now are from last gen, from PS4 era. It's like, fuck, we can't move on.
You know? Like Carlos said, we're getting a patch for GTA 5. GTA 5 started on PS3. That's how old it is.
Yeah. Ooh, Tumeke asked, do we feel this way because consoles started becoming more like PCs?
They started.
Oh, man.
No, when they started following the formula.
I do agree. I see what you're saying, to make it like we started getting PC bullshit problems, starting with the PS3 era. Patches, they're coming later on and shit, buggy fucking games, DLCs and shit. None of that existed back then, you know?
Oh, whoa. Hold the fuck on a second.
What?
If we're talking about innovative, and I'm hoping Brian will back me up on this, PC is in a league of its own.
We're not talking about consoles. We're not going down the PC route.
No, I know. No. My point is, no, I don't think they're becoming, more standardized because they're becoming more like PCs. Actually, the opposite. PC has a lot of experimental stuff going on. So if they were being more like PCs, then that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
I get the joke, but that's the real answer, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I understand some of the bullshit with PC is now coming over to consoles. Like before, everybody's consoles for the most part work the same. Now everybody's consoles have little different quirks, just like PCs have different little quirks. But it really comes down. It's hardware side. It's the games, man. The games are just not. Even though there's still good games being made, it just isn't on the level of like it was before. You know.
But don't you think that it's an indicative problem of how big the games are expected to be?
I agree because every game needs to be open world, 100 hours long.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, Chris, you coined this. Every game has to be Applebee's, serve everybody, so every game's going to be the same. You know,
there's these lofty expectations of a game that does everything that every game should do, as opposed to being utterly focused and doing the one thing right. Yeah. You look at older games. What did they do? What did Mario do? What was he good at? He was good at jumping and running.
That was his name, Jumpman. You know,
and that was your gameplay loop. Now Mario has to have a whole open world, and he has to have but he's still like, you have these games that are trying to do so much and be so huge because of the expectations that everyone has for them. Because how do you outdo yourself?
Yeah.
Make it even bigger. Make it even shinier.
Are we counting indie games?
We can, and I'm glad you bring that up because that's where the weird sticking point comes. Like, indie games are obviously innovating and stuff, but, and I'm just speaking for myself right now, I can't get excited about those fucking games, man. You know?
But
I was expecting Tony to be like, well, let's be honest, no one gives a shit about those games.
No,
like,
no, people care about them, but I'm like,
the thing about it,
you would say,
yeah.
The thing about it with you and indie games is you are not interested in that location. Even if the game like Senua's Sacrifice is essentially an indie game, even that is sort of colored by that same sort of idea that you have of an indie game.
Well, they're almost incomplete, and like I kind of agree with that. Like, one of the things I was thinking as you guys were talking is like, you know what? I have not seen a big, awesome game use a mechanic that I haven't seen before. Like, it's always something that's been proven, and the proving ground seems to be indie games. Like, an indie game will do something. It'll get a lot of attention for doing that, and then AAA games go, okay, they like that. That's become the natural evolution.
Yes, and I've said this many times. The indie games serve a purpose, right? They serve two main purposes, and you just named one of them. First main purpose is to test mechanics that big AAA games won't touch, because then if the mechanic works out, then the AAAs will get them. And the second function is games to play in between AAAs. You know, like they fill that void, so they're definitely worthwhile in that sense.
But,
you know,
there was a point that the innovation point was the actual games that were being made by the bigger companies.
I agree with that. You know, but they're not doing it anymore.
But they can't do that anymore because they can't. That's right.
There's
so much that is on top of what is expected of a game. So that's why they spread it. So they spread the peanut butter as far as they can. And because everybody likes peanut butter, they're going to keep making peanut butter.
Yeah. And Brett, I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, bro. Say what you got to say. Say what you got to say.
They could take chances in games. They just kind of choose not to. I don't think that they should take chances on a game and make that a mechanic that the whole game leans on. But like, you can do small stuff.
Look at the Nemesis system, which is probably the biggest advancement.
That's the biggest one, and nobody ever followed up on that shit.
Well, part of it is because they own the patent to that system.
I heard they're trying to sell that now, or at least license it out. So that's good. They need to do that.
Yeah, I think the reason why we haven't seen something like the Nemesis system is because they own the patent to it, and if anybody were able to touch it, they could literally sue them.
Yeah, I think they're going to license it. But yeah, because I remember when that game first came out, we were like, "Oh shit, this is actually innovative. What the fuck's going on here?" You know, because even back then we were feeling it like, "Yo, all these games are the same now." You know,
yeah. And even that game was not like it is as much of a AAA game. That game is also wasn't a huge top of the food chain sort of game. It was kind of a middleware game.
Yeah,
you know.
I want to. By the way, I want to slide into Ronan's question because it's tied to all this. He goes, per Tony's suggestion, we were talking about this on Discord. Which generation would you say saw the path split, where indies became the lab experiments and AAAs were all about the polish? PS3 era, that's when you saw it. Before that, you had indie games, but not like they were, because with the PS3 era, what was the big innovation of that era? Online, right? Developers could just put their games online. They didn't need to make physical disc anymore. So that's when we started seeing the big rush of indie games, right? And then indie guys were always like, hey, we could do crazy shit here that these other guys aren't doing, so let's do that. And then obviously at that same time, AAAs were like, these games cost a lot of fucking money, we got to make this for everybody, so let's just make Applebee's. So it was the PS3 era where you saw that split. I
don't think the indie games are like, hey, we can experiment. I think it's just like, okay, we can really, I don't think they just all of a sudden figured out they could experiment. I think it's just like, let's try this because we can try this. We don't have a bunch of investors and stuff telling us what kind of game we should be making. As opposed to that, you have a bit more freedom to do those things.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you guys. I feel like you're looking at it very from a PlayStation point of view, and that's like, this didn't start like these didn't start all of a sudden.
Well, we're talking about consoles here.
Talking about consoles. Like,
Brett, no, stop throwing
PlayStation. We're not saying that indie games did not exist, because yes, they existed in the PC place, but We are talking about the idea of putting it up, having the indie game available to the regular Joe Schmo customer.
Let me finish my point.
Okay.
My point was that I know. The ironic thing here is they took that whole system of putting games out for experimentation to see if people like them. They even stole that from Steam. So it's not just the formula for the games, it's the formula for the business. They let other people do the legwork, and then if it works, that's why they're like, okay, fucking sure. Like this came in, it became a big thing because it was already a big thing. Does that make sense?
I think once the space started to become where the amount of money it took to make a game started to explode, the innovation in most AAA games sort of went out the window. And I think the last one was the 360 and the PlayStation 3 generation, where you still could make a big budget game and experiment a little bit in it and sort of make something new. Now we're sort of dealing with we're dealing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe of movies, where essentially they're the same movies over and over and over again. And nobody's ever going to take any chances because everybody likes superheroes, and nobody's willing to take a chance on something that nobody's ever heard of.
All right, anybody else?
Yeah, fuck Applebee's.
I like Applebee's, man. They can make good burgers.
Yeah. No, I mean that's and nobody. What is it? It takes a lot to fuck up a burger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why do you think any new place I go to, I always order the same thing. I always order a burger because they can't fuck that up. Can't fuck that up. All right. Moving on. I know that was short, but we kind of already answered half the question before that. All right, moving on to Mr. Subgator. All right. Pokemon's 25th anniversary is this year. Do any of you feel would you guys like to share some of your experience or nostalgia? I'm going to go first. I didn't even know Pokemon games existed until like 2007. I had no fucking idea. I thought Pokemon was an anime and a card game. That's it. Because the games actually came out in 1998, right? For the Game Boy. I was 18. I had no fucking idea. I didn't even have a Game Boy at that point. So I just thought it was an anime. And then when I was like 27, like, oh, they make Pokemon video games, and then my friends were like, "Oh yeah, they're like baby's first RPG." I'm like, I'm good. That's pretty much my experience with Pokemon. But which one of you guys actually did play the actual Pokemon games here?
I mean, I only played a later one.
Nope, I did.
All right, Brian, you go first. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, I played most of them.
Yeah, Brian, you go first because you're excited for Pokemon Snap.
Yep. Pokemon Snap, can't wait. I started off Pokemon Yellow way back when. I missed out on the Pokemon
Red and Blue.
See, I won't say Red and Green, but yeah, I missed out on the OG Pokemon games. But I managed to jump in on Pokemon Yellow on the OG Game Boy, not Game Boy Color, but the OG Game Boy, that big yellow brick thing. My gosh, I missed that. That's like a Switch prototype. Yes. But yeah, I got on that, and I just really enjoyed it. It was fun, simple. I like how you go to a different town. The music is different. The colors are different. It's like, oh shit, it's fantastic. And of course, I fell in love with Pikachu because Pikachu was just amazing. The way that he used to like jump out the Pokeball and follow you everywhere you went is like, that's cool. And then from there, I went on Pokemon, I won't say Gold. Yeah, Gold was after that I jumped on.
Silver.
Just enjoyed Gold. It was fun. First time, the first Game Boy Color game I even had was Gold. So I was just loving it, great fun. And then from there, I kind of didn't really play anything else until Pokemon. What's the one on the Switch? Not the main one.
Sword and Shield.
No. The other one.
X.
No.
Black and White.
Oh, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee.
That's the one. Yeah, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. The only reason why is I just got really annoyed with trying to learn like all the Pokemon, because I actually remembered all 151 Pokemon, the orders, and which one was at which place. And then Gen 2 came out. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll do the same thing for Gen 2. And then Gen 3 came out, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just not doing that. Like, you just fuck off. So I just said, fuck Pokemon, I'm not dealing with that. And again, never touched it. And then I hear about Let's Go Pikachu, and I was like, oh, they're remaking Pokemon Yellow effectively. Like, this is great, you know? Like, I love that game. I have a Switch, you know? Play that, loved it. And that's pretty much it. So it's not as rich as probably Chris's history or Carlos's, but it's just, I was kind of there day one and fell off, and then sort of back on the train, but not quite back on the train. I think anything past Gen 3, I'll just not give a damn about because it's too much stuff.
All right, who else?
I'll go next, since mine is kind of really similar to Brian's, except I stopped a little bit after him. So, you know, I played when I started before. Actually, I played red and green. I mean, I played mostly red. And then I played yellow when it came out. I don't know, it was like maybe a year or two after that. You know, beat all those things, you know, get all the Pokemon. Kind of like Brian, I knew all the Pokemon's names and what they did, you know, their evolutions. It's like, oh, fucking Eevee can evolve to like 3 different things. And then it turned out to like a million different things afterwards. Yeah, freaking, because I played the card game before. I mean, I collected the cards. I didn't play the card game. I collected the cards before.
Oh, the cards! I forgot about that.
Yep, and that's what got me into the game. It's like, oh shit, Pokemon. All right, about to buy it because I already had a Game Boy. And yeah, so I beat Red. I beat Yellow. I played Silver. I beat that. I think I still have the cartridge, but my memory, I think the battery ran out and the memory is just wiped. And then I played, I think after that it was Ruby. And then after that, that's when I cut off. Cause it's like Ruby and then like, I think like the yellow of Ruby was Sapphire or one of those, Emerald or one of those. So I stopped after that because, and I like how Brian mentioned, it's like, yeah, I just got tired of like learning all the fucking names, and I'm like, yep, same thing with me, man. Because it's crazy. Like, it's like, okay, we're gonna have Pokemon. It's like the new game. We're gonna have Pokemon from the first game, Pokemon from the second game, and then a couple of and then new ones. And I'm like, all right, it's like it's just too fucking many. And I stopped for a while, and then I came back X and Y generation, and then I played that for a bit. I didn't beat it. And then I came back again through Sword and Shield, which is the latest iteration. I didn't beat that also because, you know, I love Pokemon games, and they bring some part of nostalgia on me that very little games do. But it's the same thing over and over. There's not that much difference. You know, the formula is the same. It's just a couple of new features sprinkled in. And that's why people love them. So it's like you can't really blame them for that. But yeah, I don't think we're going to count like Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Snap as part of those, I'm assuming. But if we are, then I played those as well. I'm not as high. I love Pokemon Snap. I took all the pictures that I'm supposed to take. It's like remember you threw an apple out at something. I think maybe it was a Pikachu you threw an apple at, and you get a different snapshot. It was like it wasn't a trophy, but it was like something you had to do. But I'm not too hyped for Pokemon Snap 2. I'll probably play it, but yeah, that's my history.
All right, who else?
I mean, I played it. Played Pokemon Red first. First I saw the cartoon, right? Like, this was, I think, freshman year of college, and I was like, oh, it's a show. This is interesting. And then I was like, oh shit, it's a game. And I had a Game Boy, so I played Red. And then I think I skipped ahead a little bit. I had Pokemon Crystal and I played it a little bit, but I didn't really get through it. And then I jumped ahead to the DS games, and then later on when I started working for Nintendo, I got back into the games, and I remember one thing I tried that I never played before was the mystery dungeon games, and that was interesting because you actually play as a Pokemon and you form a party. So it was an RPG from a different perspective. You actually work with a team of people, Pokemon, and you like wash up on an island. You don't remember who you are, and you just wake up like, oh, I'm a Pikachu, and then you just play. So that was fun. And I remember building the sites for Mystery Dungeon too. Like, so that was interesting. And the last one I played was um, the one on the 3DS. The was it Sun and Moon? I
Yeah.
played those.
I played that one too.
Yeah, I didn't play the Switch ones. I mean, Kristen played those. I got her Let's Go Eevee and Sword, and she played the hell out of those. She didn't play the DLC and stuff. I didn't get into those again. I my favorite one was the remake of Gold and Silver. It was Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I thought that was like the peak one. Like I love that game. Your Pokemon followed you, and you bond with them by having them out of the ball, and they follow you like the show. I thought that was great. That to me was the tops.
All right. Anybody else?
I played. I hate to date myself like this. I played the OG Pokemon when I was in 16, maybe 15 in summer school. I was taking driver's ed. I didn't fail anything. I just wanted to take driver's ed as quick as possible. So I think it was 15. And I remember sitting there and having the link cord and playing with other people. I had my little Game Boy Pocket or Game Boy Mini. Yeah. So I had a hell of a time with it. We get together, we'd play a little bit, and then we'd challenge each other and have little battle offs. I like the idea of being able to. I was like, oh, cool! So I can like just grab an NPC monster and like train it up to be like this crazy badass dragon monster thing, and then use it to fight other people. Like, yeah, I really like the social component. So played that, had a hell of a time, and then came the wave of popularity that followed it. And that came with the cartoon and everything else, and pretty much me and everybody else I was playing with just kind of went, oh no, hell no, and just kind of put down their copies of Pokemon and walked away. So I played the original I had read, but yeah, after that, took a really kiddie turn. Maybe it always was kiddie. It didn't feel like that to me though. The first time I played it, blind, it kind of felt like an anime game. And I know that you were a kid, but it didn't have the tone that the cartoon did. And after that, every subsequent Pokemon game had a definite tonal difference from the first one. So it just took this really kiddie direction, and I kind of resigned until this latest one when I jumped back in. That's why I was kind of excited for it. So I was like, man, you can kind of do that same thing. Come across somebody like, oh, you have Pokemon? Whip it out, let me battle you. So yeah, that's my Pokemon experience.
Go, Manny, have you ever played Pokemon? I think you're like me. I don't think you ever played those, have you? I don't think Manny's here right now.
I'm here.
Manny, have you played those games? Because I don't think you have. I could be wrong about that.
I played a few of the. I played the more recent ones, but I don't really have any sort of connection to those games, to be honest.
Yeah, so, I'm the same way. Like I said, it was an anime, and it was back in those days where anime was kind of few and far between. So I watched it. I'm like, hey, it's an anime. I'll watch it. But like again, when I found out it was an actual video game series, I was almost 30. I'm like, I missed that book because it seems to me like Pokemon fans are just fans because of the nostalgia. Like I don't think a 40-year-old guy is gonna go, oh, Pokemon's the greatest fucking thing ever. Like I don't think that's gonna happen.
You also think of it like baby's first Pokemon or baby's first RPG, and while it is, man, it's got some complicated fucking mechanics in it. Like you can't think that it's just super simple. there is stuff to get a hang on. And each generation it's gotten harder and harder, man. Like now it's fucking crazy complicated. But even back in the day, there was, when you say baby's first RPG,
That's not what I called it, by the way. That's what people.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know, yeah. But it wasn't really less involved than any actual RPG was. You just had fewer. You didn't have a giant bank of moves. You had different characters who each had like 3 moves. So instead of 5 characters with 30 moves each, you had 150 characters with 3 moves each. So it wasn't as simple as I think that you think that it is.
Yeah. I'm not saying this. I was just what I've been told. I have no fucking idea. All I know was my mind was like, oh, baby's first RPG. I play real RPGs. I'm good, and that was literally all the mind I gave to it.
Can somebody with more Pokemon experience explain if it is that simple, and if not, why?
Yeah, please explain to the people.
I only played the first one, and the first one I remember you had to pay a lot of attention to what's weak against what, and then you have to worry about stacking your roster because one of them is going to die in a situation, then you have to have a backup guy that comes across that, so you have to have your roster stacked with guys from this element, guys from this element, guys that do this, and then you have one that does a special move or blah blah blah. And you have to have your main one. Managing them was actually surprisingly deep, but if anybody, one of you other guys who played more can explain it, please.
Yeah, please do, because again, this is a pervasive thing that these are just baby RPGs.
I think it has a lower barrier to entry because it's relatively simple to understand what's going on. From a first step point of view, it's stuff that everyone is aware of. It's okay, you have fire, everyone knows about fire. You have water, everyone knows about water. Everyone knows that you put water on fire, the fire goes out. Again, it's based on ideas and concepts that, for the most part, we are aware of. So there's no need for you to explain stuff. Try to explain what material is and how it works to someone. They'll be like, the fuck's that? Whereas you say to someone, hey, you have fire, you have water. Chances are the water beats the fire. Oh, you have fire, or you have water, you have electric. Oh, you can electrify the water. It's stuff that, for the most part, we just know about. So I think that level of entry makes it easier to understand. But as Brett said, when you start actually looking at it, it gets a lot more complex, because then you start looking at, okay, different Pokemon have different stats, and different stats do different things. And then you go even deeper, and then you start looking at I think it's the EV values or the IV values, and then it's oh, these are hidden stats that you don't see because the game says fuck you. And then you start looking into shinies, and then as far as I know, that's where I stopped. But I've heard that there's duo battles, and then there's Gigamaxing, and then there's more types, and then all sorts. So I think it's just easy to get into, but when you start looking at how deep it is, it's it's fairly deep enough.
Yeah,
I've seen people do some really crazy builds where they can just wipe out the final bosses in 4 moves, because they can optimize the deck. Well, the deck. They can optimize their team that well. But then I've seen people just struggle so much. So yeah, I think that's as far as I know. But I'm sure that Chris goes even further than that.
Yeah, I could go deeper. I mean, there was hidden stats. There's breeding. You could breed certain stats into certain types if you wanted. If you wanted different ones, or if you wanted to replicate certain Pokemons, you breed it with Ditto or stuff like that. There's tricks. So it gets as deep as you want. But if Tony, if you were to play it you would just beast, you would just level up your guys, right?
Yeah.
And just go through and just go fight the final 4 and beat them. If that's all you want to do, that's fine. But some people went to Pokemon events, got shinies, and then breed those, and then
oh damn.
Whoa!
What the fuck?
God damn.
Sorry, that was my headset falling off my head.
Oh shit.
Shit.
I apologize for the technical difficulties.
But it's I wouldn't say it's baby's first RPG, but like Brian said, it's very easy to understand. Water. If your fire is weak against water and all this stuff.
It's intuitive.
So at the beginning, yes, intuitive in that sense, and then from there it gets deeper if you want to do other things. They talk about breeding and all. I never got into any of that stuff. I never caught shinies, and listen, I caught the legendaries though. I was like, wait, those Pokemon are probably really strong. So I'm going to catch those, right? So that was something I got into. I was like, I'll catch the legendaries and level those fuckers up, and then I'm going up to that cliff. I'm killing everybody, right?
Chris,
So, yeah.
You remember, and I don't know if the later ones did this, but you would see a legendary one, and it's like you had to encounter it first, and you probably wouldn't catch it your first time, but then you had to fucking go to your Pokedex and be like, okay, where is this motherfucker at? Because it can only be in one place in the whole map at a time, and you can't fucking fly there, or the thing will fucking go away.
Oh, that was the worst. Like the later games made it easier, but in early games, you're right. Like when you have to walk around the map and catch it, and you're like sweating, like you saved the game. You're like, oh, I can't kill it, man. I just gotta beat it enough.
It'll die permanently.
And I'm like, do I use this fucking Master Ball? I only got one of them. Is it worth it?
Item management. So let me ask you guys: would you say that the battle mechanics are simpler than, say, like Persona? Because I've always gotten the impression like all turn-based RPGs are essentially pretty simple. They're all kind of on a level playing field to me, as long as you're using turn-based, unless it's fucking some the crazy ass game. I can think of a couple, but unless you're micromanaging like 35 things, they're all pretty simple, aren't they?
Well, the mechanics, they're most RPGs I've played are pretty simple. I think what gives Pokemon complexity is that like you can literally have hundreds and hundreds of fucking Pokemon, and you have to decide which ones work best in a team, and which ones are going to level up, and what skill sets to pick. And I think you have like you can carry 5 or 6 at a time, and they each have like 5 play sets. And
then there's environmental moves that are worthless, except like, oh, I need to cut that tree. But I have this Pokemon. Right. Do I teach him cut and lose a move, or there's trade-offs? So it makes it interesting.
Yeah. All right. Any more Pokemon stories?
I don't like Pokemon.
Gotta catch a bear, Pokemon. Yeah.
And there goes the urge right there.
Oh, all right, start wrapping this thing up. Manny, do you have anything to plug?
Well, let's see what I got here. Well, we got Excellence number 10 is going to be coming out pretty soon. Just got my copies pretty right there. Let's see. Well, we got some stuff from Marvel, which is Symbiote Spider-Man, and what was this other one? I can't remember what it is, but it'll you'll see if you're following me on Twitter. And also this weekend, those of you who went over to get some Liquid Snake prints, that happened from Cam Clark, the voice of Liquid Snake. So good stuff on there, and that's about it.
Good stuff, right? Adam
may have some giveaways in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, by the way, got to give you guys the Phoenix game. I was gonna do it for this episode, but Manny and I got busy with all this shit, so it totally slipped my mind. And I want to do it right. So Thursday we're gonna give the game away for PS5 physical. All right, Adam, what you got, man?
Nothing coming up. Remember, I am Negan. Walking Dead's coming back. Check out the podcast.
There you go.
It'll be fun.
It's gonna be crazy, man. All right, people. So you already know. Follow us on Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube and join our Discord. And if you're watching on YouTube right now and you like this podcast, man, make sure to hit like and subscribe for more Throwdown. And everybody else, you can find us on any podcast app, Throwdown Show, anywhere, literally any podcast app. Whatever your favorite podcast app is, we're on it. I guarantee you that. Right? Visit throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes and links to everything down below. All right. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
Have a good week, people.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Brian Manjoma.
Yes, to answer the age-old question, gameplay number 1 and number 2, everything else.
Oh shit, there you go, man. All right, people, we'll see you on Thursday. Later
guys.
Yeah, I'm sure Jim Ryan calls it soccer also.
Oh.